A very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, I, Anupama Avasthi, welcome you to the pre-conference workshop on bioentrepreneurship via 3S, startups, scaling up, and sustenance, aligned with the SDGs as a prelude to the fourth International Conference on Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Leadership, ISIL 2022, starting from tomorrow. Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, music, art, wisdom, and nature, represents the free flow of wisdom and consciousness. Let's seek her blessings in all spheres of life through Saraswati Vandana and lightning of the lamp.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
To introduce the theme of workshop, I hereby invite the Program Director, Dr. Mrs. Sushmita Shukla, Associate Professor, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, AUUP. Dr. Shukla is MSc and PhD in biotechnology and has vast experience in the field of plant biotechnology, especially in the micropropagation or clonal propagation of elite medicinal and economically important plants for mass multiplication. Over to you, Sushmita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anupama, for such a nice introduction. So starting with the thing, I would like to say a very good morning once again to all the dignitaries, participants, students, colleagues, and Amitians, and especially the guests of honors who are already there among us. So I would like to take the opportunity to welcome you all on behalf of Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and the whole organizing team to the pre-conference on bio-entrepreneurship via 3S, that is startups, scaling up, and sustenance, aligned with sustainable development goals. So today we are having eminent speakers among us. To name them, we are having a great scientist among us, Professor K.C. Bansal, Dr. Mukti Sadan Basu, and Dr. Shivkant Shukla. It is an honor for me to welcome every one of you. And it's a tradition to welcome our guest with sacred Tulsi plants, and will not miss that also in this event virtual platform. So, and it is a pleasure for all of us to have such a great personality among us. We all are keen to hear from you all, sir, and about your journey, knowledge, and success mantras. Thank you for taking out time for all of us from your busy schedule to share your thoughts with us. Once again, I welcome you all, sir, for this beautiful event. Now we would be having our Honorable Vice Chancellor, ma'am. Also, soon she will be joining us as another program is scheduled, and I will be speaking about her, just a little bit introduction about her, so that we will be, because she is the inspiration behind all of us. So as an Honorable Vice Chancellor, ma'am, Professor Balwinder Shukla is with us, and she has been over 3 decades of rich scholarly experience in industry research, academia, and administration. And soon we will be getting to hear from her also. Now, I strongly believe that the experience shared by our guest of honors in this workshop will ignite young minds, researchers, professionals, academicians, industrialists with some innovative venture ideas, implementing all three aspects of plant tissue culture, artificial intelligence, and genome editing for meeting Sustainable Development Goals 2030 of the United Nations. Also, we hope the outcome of this workshop would encourage collaborative research platform and ample of new opportunities. Though this workshop students will not only be alert and aware of their surroundings, but also it will help them in developing the leadership quality and confidence as well, along with the entrepreneur skill. I ensure you all that you will thoroughly enjoy all the sessions of the workshop and will definitely take some learning home today. A warm welcome to all the industry representatives whose presence has motivated us about the relevance of the workshop and its impact on practical levels. I also welcome our media and IT department who are there for supporting us throughout the workshop. I wish you all a very pleasant stay and memorable time with us. Now, as I've already said, that I will be, it is our tradition that we always welcome our participants with a Tulsi sapling. So uh, small thing which we would like to go for. So we have prepared a small presentation which we don't want to miss, that we want to go for the virtual platform. We would like to present a Tulsi sapling to our chief guest, Dr. K.C. Bansal, through conference chair, Dr. Balvinder Shukla ma'am. At the same time, I would invite Dr. Deepshika ma'am to felicitate Dr. Mukti Sadan Basu, Managing Director, SBSF Consultancy Services, Kolkata. Now, also, I would like to request Dr. A.N. Sahi, who is already here and joined us, to felicitate Dr. Shivkan Shukla, a Deputy General Manager of Biotech Consortium, India Limited. So this was a small welcoming, sir, though we are here virtually present. So soon as we will be in the face-to-face mode, the Tulsi plant, Tulsi sapling will be waiting for you all. So thank you so much, sir. So now over to you, Dr. Anupama.
Thank you, Sushmita ma'am. I now welcome all the esteemed speakers and our Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am, Dr. Balvinder Shukla ma'am, in this workshop. Currently, Dr. Shukla is a professor of entrepreneurship, leadership, and IT, and Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. She has numerous postings during her 30+ years of career. With a strategic mindset and creative thinking ability, she has been one of the key team members spearheading the instrumental in exponential growth of Amity Group. She is an astute architect of unique flexi-based credit framework that includes a flexi choice-based credit system, outcome-based education, and education 4.0. She has also been instrumental in aligning the learning outcomes and operational outcomes with strategic plans of the university. She has been a successful vice chancellor and an inspirational leader. She is front runners in achieving various rankings and accreditations of Amity University. At the same time, she is a great researcher and academician and has authored numerous books, developed unique models, namely accelerator model for promoting and ensuring incubator excellence, and IT-enabled strategic operational excellence model for higher educational institutes. She has been on advisory board as well as independent director on board of companies, National Institute of Immunology, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, Khadi Design Council of India, and various NGOs. She is a recipient of various prestigious awards and honors, such as Distinguished Academician and Outstanding Administrator 2012 by Balkanji Badi International, India's oldest NGO, founded way back in 1926, and Bharatiya Manav Adhikar Samman 2012 for peace, harmony, protection, and promotion of human rights. She has also been honored with Outstanding Leadership in Education and Person of Year Award 2013, Newsmakers Achievers Award 2014, 100 Most Influential Directors of India Award 2016 by World Education Congress, Special Recognition Award 2016 by Society for Human Resource Management, Peacemaker Award 2017 by Global Peace and Prosperity Initiative USA, Eminent Engineer Award 2017 by IET, Institutional Award for Excellence in Gender Diversity and Inclusion Practice 2017 by Women in Science and Engineering WISE India, Outstanding Contribution to Educational Award 2017 by Devang Mehta Foundation and uh, B School Affairs, Women Enabler Award 2018 by TIE, Phenomenal She Award 2019 for exemplary achievement and being phenomenal by Indian National Bar Association. And she has also been recognized as top 5 personalities in India.
That's
Asia Pacific.
Dr. Anupama.
Yeah.
I'm sorry intervening in between, right? We will again come back to VC ma'am as she is already there. She has logged in, but
Okay.
again she is giving talk to the different forum. So I would request Dr. Deepshika ma'am to just say a few words, and then we will move with Dr. Pooja, Dr. Puniti, and Dr. Nidhi. You can see. Deepshika ma'am, if you can throw light on this particular.
Thank you, Dr. Sushmita. So, as you have already told the August gathering, first of all, I would like to welcome all the eminent speakers who have joined us today for this very, very important workshop. And as it is basically for under making tissue culture as a very important tool, as all the students know about it, the sustainable development, upscaling, and entrepreneurship, because this technology has large potential to create several employment opportunities, and it has already opened up many entrepreneurial fields. And a successful economic development strategy must focus on improving the skills of the area workforce, reducing the cost of doing business, and making available resources and business need to complete the thrive in today's global economy. And we have already seen that government has put in up a lot of initiatives to train the skilled personnel for in this area. So I feel that with the presence of Dr. Bansal, Dr. Basu, and of course, Dr. Shukla, our students and all the participants will get the insight on how to move forward. Secondly, I've also talked about the collaboration, and as Amity Institute of Biotechnology, we will look forward for a fruitful collaboration in this particular field, which is really very challenging and very rewarding. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, Dr. Anupama, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deepshika ma'am. And now I invite Professor Dr. Nidhi Chaudhary, Center for Biotechnology and Biochemical Engineering, to please address the gathering.
I think we can move to other. If Dr. Pooja is there with us, can we have few words from your side?
Yeah, hi. I am just trying to switch on my video, which I am unable to. Yeah, I think. Yeah, am I audible and visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So first of all, a huge congratulations to Dr. Sushmita Shukla for having this pre-conference workshop on bio-entrepreneurship via 3S, which is startup scaling and sustenance aligned with the SDGs. I think it's a huge platform where our students can learn, can understand, because the sustainable development goals and the initiatives of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Scale Up and Skill India, etc., Startup India and Skill India are the brain, is not only the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, but also the vision of our Honorable Founder President and our Vice Chancellor and Chancellors. Because we do not want to we not only want to create a sustainable workforce, but we also want to create students who can provide jobs and opportunities to others. Rather than being job seekers, we want to make job producers, because that is how the economy of the country would increase. And what we have seen during the pandemic in the past 2 years is the number of startups that have come up, not only in healthcare, but also in aligned area, whether it is agribusiness, whether it is industrial biotechnology, whether it is diagnostics, anything to do with health, human or One Health, which is the health of plant, environment, animal and human. I think in this spectrum, we have seen a number of startups coming up. And this pre-workshop that we are having today would give the platform to the students to think beyond what is being taught in their curriculum. And thinking out of the box would make a better workforce than students who are restrained in a particular container, which we do not want. And this pandemic has also opened the opportunities of virtual learning, virtual internships, online mode of communicating that we are doing today. And this has become a part of our life. I think this will give students an opportunity to learn and think beyond what is being taught in their regular curriculum. So congratulations to Dr. Sushmita and the entire team. And again, on my own behalf, I would like to once again welcome all the esteemed speakers for sparing their time and educating not only the students, but also us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. So Dr. Anupama, it's over to you. We can start.
So Puniti ma'am is also there. So just.
Yes, we would request Puniti ma'am to say words from your side. Ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sushmita. And big congratulations to you for organizing this pre-conference workshop, which is very apt, I think, before the ICEIL, which actually starts. I think it's a very good prelude to the whole workshop. And as Dr. Pooja, Dr. Deepshik had just mentioned, the startup, scale up, and the sustenance, the three ideas that we are initiating this pre-conference workshop with, I think they are very apt, especially to our university, because Amity plays a very, very strong focus on all three of them. In fact, the graduate attributes of our university are also focused on these. And with the United Nations SDGs, I think with the talks that Dr. Bansal, Dr. Basu, and Dr. Shukla today, I think the students as well as the faculty members, we all are going to get an insight into how biotechnology and agriculture plays an important role in supporting India in these three initiatives. So I would thank the speakers who have consented to be our guests, and we look forward to your enlightening talks.
Thank you, Puniti ma'am. So we will start with the workshop now. And I now invite the program director, Dr. Sushmita Shukla, to please introduce Dr. Shiv Kant Shukla, Deputy General Manager, Biotech Consortium India Limited, New Delhi, for a session on plant tissue culture entrepreneurship for sustainable development, which will be followed by an exercise on entrepreneurial aptitude on plant tissue culture. Over to you, Sushmita ma'am.
Just a second.
Smita.
Good morning so much. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So let me quickly address all the participants.
So, ma'am, will you give few minutes to speak about yourself also?
No. I don't think everybody knows me very well.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. So very good morning to everyone present for the pre-conference workshop on Bio-entrepreneurship via 3S, startup scaling up and the sustenance aligned with the sustainable development goals. First of all, I would like to congratulate Dr. Smita and the team of AIB for choosing this wonderful topic for the pre-conference workshop. Objective of this pre-conference workshop is that we sensitize the people who are interested in starting their own ventures in the biotechnology and bio areas. At the same time, sharing what are the opportunities in this area, because today the era is not for looking at the corporate jobs, rather looking for the opportunities to start their own ventures, because we are seeing so many success stories in this area. We are seeing so many success stories in the area of biosciences and biotechnologies, where the student or the individuals have started their own venture, and in no time those ventures have become a very big success stories. And today, when we are looking at for the last 2 years due to the COVID pandemic, when all are sitting at home, it has not only changed the landscape of the industry and employability, but it has changed the landscape of the education also. Today, you are sitting at home, teaching. The remote mode of teaching is happening in all the higher education institutions. People feeling more comfortable with the online medium rather than going in the physical mode, because of everyone has the concern for their safety and well-being. And we have seen in the last 2 years so many innovations have happened in all the sectors, including the manufacturing. People never thought that you can have the manufacturing fully technology enabled, but we have seen no time that many of the companies have made their manufacturing fully technology enabled. So that means the technology can play very important role in all aspects. So therefore, these youngsters, that who have so much energy and who have many ideas, and as a team, as an individual, they can, what the research they do in their, maybe at the bachelor level for the major projects, or what they do for the master's level or the doctoral level, they can always experiment and try to start their own ventures. So I can see that how the pharma industries, that's the best example in the pharma industry, how fast the vaccine has been developed in the record time, not only by the one organization, but the multiple organizations, though some of the very reputed, the organization, but I think a lot of have come from the universities research labs also. The only thing they will take time to bring this to the market, because they need the kind of support. But today the government policies are so conducive, so helpful, and it's only the individual have to take the plunge and the decision that I would like to go ahead with my idea, my innovation. So I would like to first of all thank Dr. Smita, as well as we have Dr. Shiv Kumar with us, and I would like to thank him also for partnering with MIT for conducting this workshop. And I'm sure this will go a long way and encourage and motivate the individuals to think for entrepreneurship as alternate career. So once again, many, many congratulations. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. And it's very, very, very limit. We are very words are limit to speak about you. You are the inspiration and motivational person behind all of us we are working. And very good to hear from you. So I would request again, Dr. Anupama, to go ahead with. We were moving with the another speaker. Uh,
So
yes, Dr. Anupama.
thank you so much, Honorable VC ma'am, for your encouraging words. I now invite the Program Director, Dr. Sushmita Shukla, to introduce Dr. Shivkan Shukla, Deputy General Manager, Biotech Consortium India Limited, New Delhi, for his session on plant tissue culture entrepreneurship for sustainable development, which will be followed by an exercise on entrepreneur aptitude on plant tissue culture. Over to you, Sushmita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anupama. So I may take the opportunity to discuss or describe the small brief profile of Dr. Shivkan Shukla. Dr. Shivkan Shukla has made a significant contribution in the area of commercial biotechnology and the plant tissue culture. And his doctorate and master's, he did his master's and doctorate in biotechnology. And currently he is working as Deputy General Manager in Biotech Consortium India Limited, an organization promoted by Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. Prior to BCIL, he was heading the leading commercial plant tissue culture unit in central India. He has approx more than 22 years of diversified experience covering research, production of tissue culture plants, field extension, quality management, biotech parks, technology transfer, administration, and management of biotech parks. He has also contributed in many conferences and has delivered keynote speeches in many international and national forums. He has successfully organized many EDPs and conferences. Dr. Shukla has managed prestigious international and national long-term projects of Government of India, which includes Indo-Africa projects on plant tissue culture and National Certification System for Tissue Culture-Aged Plants, that is NCSTCP, which has become self-sustaining program now with an efficient management. In addition to the above international and national projects, Dr. Shukla is also working with many state governments for setting up of biotechnology parks and incubators for promoting startup in biotechnology, particularly in remotest part of the country, including Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Leh, Jammu and Kashmir. He played a key role in conceptualizing and preparing the detailed plan for biotech parks for many state governments, which are later approved by Government of India for financial support. Recently, he has been assigned responsibility as Head Technology Transfer Office of Biotech Consortium India Limited, established by DBT BIRAC. As Head TTO, he is actively involved in innovation and technology management of DBT, Government of India supported autonomous research institution. His contribution have also acknowledged by various recognition and awards. To name a few is appreciation from Government of Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Rashtriya Gaurav Awards, and so forth. With this, I would now request Dr. Shukla to give his enlighten us with his speech. Dr. Shukla, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Susmita, for this very nice and detailed introduction. Though I am not new for the Amity University, I feel myself as part of the Amity Universe. So, good morning, all of you. And for me, it's a great pleasure to be again with the Amity University program. Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Dr. Balvinder Shukla. She is well-known expert in the area of entrepreneurship and a great motivator. Dr. Deepshikha, Dr. Susmita, Dr. N. Sahi, Dr. Puniti, Dr. Pooja, Dr. Nidhi, all the faculty members, students, good morning to all of you. Before I start, it is my great privilege to be with great expert, Dr. K.C. Bansal, and Dr. Muktisan Basu. They are the very well-known expert in their respective area, and even the role model in the area of plant biotechnology, agriculture biotechnology, commercialization, and great work is acknowledged across the domain. So it will be other than a speech, it will be good learning experience for me to listen this legend today. So thank you once again, Amit University, and now I would like to share my slide. Hope my voice is clear. I am audible to all the audience.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So can you see the slide?
Yes, it is visible. Can you make it slideshow mode?
I already made. Maybe it will be coming. So this is visible to all of you.
Yeah, it's visible, but the side slides are being seen. Slideshow mode we are not having. So I think we can go with this only.
Oh, I have made it. Can any other confirm that whether it is coming properly or not from the audience?
Sir, it's not coming as slideshow mode. Probably reshare with the desk screen, home screen option. So then when you move the slide,
I'll do it. I'll do it again.
Yes, sir. Now it's
Now it is there. Okay,
yes,
great.
sir.
So good morning, all of you. And my today's talk will cover plant culture, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development. What I would say, this is an excellent topic in the current time. Plant culture has been proven not for the research, but also it has been well commercialized across the globe. And India is leading. I would say we have more than 200 companies from various ranges just producing 3 to 4 lakh plants, 200 million plants per annum. So this is the right time to talk about. And this 3S, startup, scaling up, and the sustainability. Definitely this theme is very much interesting. And would say that we all are aware that the current next Science Day, that is February 20th, it has been declared as an integrated approach of science and technology for sustainable development. So this topic becomes more relevant. That what Amit is going ahead with this excellent topic. And as you all know that recently India celebrated National Startup Day on January 16th, recently, day before yesterday. So this startup, scaling up, sustainability becomes very, very relevant and important in current context. Now coming to the sustainable development goal, as you all know, there are 17 goals. And just for the audience, it is more than 150 participants. It is very encouraging to see. And most of them, I've been told that they are the potential entrepreneur interested in agri-biotechnology, plant biotechnology, and plant culture thing. So for them, you all know there are 17 goals declared by UNO. And out of that, like no poverty, zero hunger, gender equality, and so on. There are 17 goals are defined. And how the agri-biotechnology plant culture will play a significant role that today we'll discuss. For the audience information, just I want to tell that after this presentation, there will be some kind of aptitude exercise. And whatever we're going to talk, something will come out of those presentation. So I request everyone, particularly the student, to listen all the topic very carefully, which will not only increase the knowledge, but also this will help in their entrepreneurial journey. So as I told, there are 17 SDGs. And I will restrict myself to the plant culture, how this is helping. The goal 1 and 2, which talks about no poverty and zero hunger. Then goal SDG 7 and 13, which talks about clean energy and climate change. So, as you all know, the plant culture ecosystem, when we talk about the commercialization, all the time it is happening in remote area, in village background, in rural ecosystem. And whenever there is any commercial facility exist by industry friend, they are participating in this program, they are well aware that whenever somebody operates commercial facility as an entrepreneur, it changes the entire rural ecosystem of that vicinity, because it provides job to women, it provides job to the young, it provides job, and even the partnership opportunity for the creating a secondary hardening unit. So it is playing a key role for reducing the poverty, creating employment, and with the help of quality fruit production like pomegranate, banana, it is helping in nutritional security also. And the women participation is very important. You visit any commercial laboratory, 70, 80, and sometimes 90% operators, they are the women. And as I came to know from the entrepreneur, they are saying that they are the best when it comes to the operating inside the inoculation room. So it is helping a lot. And even this pandemic time, industry is playing very important role to help farmer for providing the quality planting material. And we should not be talking all the time the high-end thing, the technology which is really changing the local ecosystem, that is very important. And this localization of SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, is very important. After localizing this effort, one can think about globally, the global impact. So this is creating a huge impact. You just consider 200 company, 200 locations, multiple hardening center, and lakhs of progressive farmer. So this technology has created a huge impact. How it is created, let us discuss more further. Now, commercial tissue culture and plant tissue culture, the research aspect. You all are aware, I need not to go the detail of the advantage that you can produce two type plant, you can conserve species, you can multiply rapidly, and it is all the time export friendly, quarantine friendly. So you all aware, and I don't need to discuss in detail. Let us talk about the commercial aspect. The current crop, which has been successfully being multiplied by tissue culture by many companies, that is banana, sugarcane, gerbera, potato, date palm, pomegranate, bamboo, orchids. Millions of plants are being produced. The potential crop, which will come near future, already the companies, they have started in certain level, that is citrus, teak, being done by many companies, but still it has huge potential to grow. Now kiwi, walnut, oil palm, lots of import dependence. So oil palm will play a main role. Ginger, almonds, and like blueberries, it has a huge potential in coming time. Now, when we talk about the entrepreneurship in plant culture, what is that? Entrepreneurship in plant culture is the act of being an entrepreneur who starts plant culture production by being the self-employed and creating job opportunity for many. And as VC Madam told, the current government policy, the current platform is highly conducive. Like government program, you just visit the site, Make in India, Startup India, Skill India, and sometimes this biotechnology park. This is providing an excellent platform, sometime in the form of incubation, sometime of providing the ready-to-use facility, that is providing facility to the potential entrepreneur by minimizing the risk of heavy investment in the beginning. Because once risk is minimized, then your chances of becoming sustainable, it becomes more vibrant. So let us talk about the entrepreneurship in brief. For particularly for the potential entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, and those students after their bachelor, master, they want to establish that commercial lab or any other bio enterprise. First of all, you need to discover yourself. You should be having interest in the particular subject. You should be loving to plant agriculture system. Then only there is chances of having good success rate. So one first requirement is self-discovery. You should having some kind of business aptitude. Then just identifying yourself and daydreaming will not help. You have to have identify opportunity, what need, problem, challenges are there that you can offer by being an entrepreneur. That is very important. Once you have identified yourself, then you have to generate and you have to assess the idea. You have to create a plan, and that plan has to be workable plan, a smart plan. What we call it in management. You should be having a smart planning, and once it is there, this planning itself will not help. You have to raise the capital. You have to source the revenue. You have to source the finance. Then the startup will come. What the topic is there for the current theme? Startup. Once you started, then scaling up is very important. You have to scale up because just starting a venture will not help. This is not a research project where one will do 2 years, 3 years work, publish the paper, patent, and then move on to the next one. You have to scale up, you have to grow, you have to generate more revenue, you have to create more job opportunity. So the scaling is very important. And once scaling up is there, then the times come for the real return, that is harvesting time. It kind of sustainable business. So this three top theme, what we talk 3S today, is startup, scaling up, and sustainability. It is very important for the journey of the entrepreneur life. So with this thing, this is the basic of core entrepreneurship. And when we talk about the specifically to the plant culture, the basic requirement is creating an infra. Your mindset should be there to become an entrepreneur, because this is different mindset from job seeker to job provider. Financial support, and very important thing, that is a bankable detailed project report. Without this, your journey will not begin even. And when they talk about the DPR, business plan, it has to be well structured. It should be having some kind of summary where you can explain your financier, banker, okay, this is my technology, this is my business plan, this will be the revenue, and once I will be funded, I will return with so many timeline and milestone. So you need to convince the banker. Many times, as a tissue culture enthusiast, once we visit to the finance person, we are not able to convince them, because when we talk plant tissue culture is very great technology, this, then what will think? Okay, he's a scientist. He is not a business idea. But once, if you want to convince them, in just one page note, you have to explain that potential of this technology in business term. And detailing will come as a management team. You need to talk about the product services, management team, financial plan, and a risk analysis, competitors analysis. Then only your business plan will be completed. So these are the components, because as an entrepreneur, as a potential entrepreneur, you need to write a viable business plan. Even for the diversification, if you are the existing entrepreneur, you want to diversify, you should be having business plan for the new venture. Now, as a potential entrepreneur, for the sustainability part, you have to know the risk involved and how to address those risks. So I have just summarized few risks and how to mitigate that challenges, like source of funding. You have to think about the government scheme, some angel investment. Obviously, when you are planning, you have to avail loan for that, because many scheme that are linked to the loan only. Then marketing is very important. Just producing a good quality plant will not have. You have to market it. You have to reach out to the potential customer. And for that, branding is very important. And for that, you should be having value addition, because this current era is based on the quality business. If you're not able to convince the customer about the quality, there will not be any recurrent demand. And in order to have the recurrent demand, that labeling certification is very important. Like Department of Biotechnology, it certifies the plant with the label. Then contamination, obviously it's a technical issue. So you have to have the SOP for that, how to document each step so that you can trace back the problem. competition. You have to know the competition, who are the other producer, what offer they are providing, and skilled manpower. You have to train them, retrain them. So apart from this, you have to focus on the financial management, budgeting, resource allocation, and finally, reporting part is very, very important. So I think I am just talking about the core aspect of the entrepreneurship. So in nutshell, bio-entrepreneurship is creating wealth by the application of bioscience in business context. And BCIL has published a book, which is on the bio-entrepreneurship development, which talks about the entrepreneur journey, various types of opportunity, how to create a firm, proprietor, joint venture, LLP, private limited, public limited. So what are the basic requirements, norms one need to follow? So this book will answer that fundamental question of any potential entrepreneur. I have provided the link. You can just click this and download from the BCIL website. It is a freely available. One can go through and one can get the detailed idea about bio-entrepreneurship. BCIL has done such kind of program in the past, particularly in Northeast. Just see the first one, Abjit Saikia. He established the biofertilizer lab with the mentorship of BCIL. And Supratim Roy Chaudhary, when he visited BCIL, just 28-year-old, and with very limited idea of the entrepreneurship aspect. So with the help of BCIL mentorship, the complete hand-holding support, training from industry, assistance in preparing the DPR, now he has become one of good entrepreneur in Silchar, Assam, Northeast region, and is producing banana, strawberry, pineapple, and bamboo. So what I would say, this is not just a dream. You have to translate your dream into the viable business plan. You have to translate into the business aspect. So there will be good realization in terms of scaling up. Banana, when we talk about the banana, it has become a synonym of the sustainable plant tissue culture activities. Banana is highly successful. I would explain in the further next subsequent slide how many companies are doing banana, and it is creating a good competition among the stakeholder, healthy competition, but also there is a possibility of huge growth because hardly we have replaced 10 to 15% of the traditional planting now so far. So banana has become a synonym of plant tissue culture, commercial plant tissue culture, and approximate 350 million plantlets are being produced annually. Farmers, they're getting good return because it gives harvesting in 11 to 13 months as compared to 16, 17, 18 months when they use the suckers. Though this year there was some negative report also that there is huge production, limited demand. So this is kind of logistic problems, some marketing issues, but overall there is good scope for the banana. And this has been well documented in Banana Success Story published by the APARI and co-authored by me and a few other scientists. Now coming to the another example of bio-entrepreneurship, plant culture entrepreneurship, the person who one can see here is Mr. Vinod Soni. Basically, he's not having any background of plant science. By profession, a family business is their goldsmith, and somebody told that there is good scope in plant culture. So what he did, he got training from CSIR ISBT Palampur, and he also joined our awareness program organized by BCIL in 2010. Then he started a small laboratory in Bilaspur, that is in Himachal Pradesh, not in Chhattisgarh. So he started producing apple rootstock, and that rootstock has created a revolution in northern India, in upper part of Himachal and Kashmir. And what he's providing a virus indexed rootstock, and farmers they are just grafting their desired plant. So this is an example of entrepreneurship, how one can do. Even when we talk about the research, long time we did research in the apple tissue culture, but ultimately the young energetic person, Vinod Soni, who has translated this idea, and now he supplied the millions of plants to the various hilly region. So these are the kind of living example, a kind of role model for the potential entrepreneur. One can start from the small scale, then scale it up, and sustainability will come only when we are providing a quality product. Without quality product, sustainability will not come, because one has to have the recurrent demand from the market. Now, commercial plant culture, just a glimpse. It started late 80. Now with more than 200 company, ranging from 5 million to 500 million plant, and there is good scope, being a good manpower resource, considering that uh, agroclimate condition, and many species, as I told, these are being multiplied commercially through this culture. Millions of plants are being produced, yet as a sustainable business operation, one has to select at least 3 to 4 crop in order to make it vibrant around the year. And when we talk about that distribution, you see that it is dominated by the first generation entrepreneur. 1 to 3 million, the capacity, what I'm talking, capacity to produce 1 million plant to 3 million. 48% industry segment is having this 1 to 3 million. Below 1 million, 31%. So you just count 48 plus 31. The majority is dominated by the capacity having a capacity of up to 3 million. Larger company, they're very limited. It requires heavy investment, and also that sustainability has to be worked out when they're going for the scaling up. As I told, Apple is being produced by commercially one company. There are only 3-4 more companies are there, but largely Nissan Biotech is providing this Apple rootstock. Banana, 110 companies, they're doing banana. Bamboo, 7 companies. Likewise, there are many species being propagated by many commercial laboratories, that it has become successful. Just a quick basic idea. This is not a final thing, because if you prepare a business plan, this may vary depending on the product, capacity, location. But approximate, if you're going for the 3 million capacity, roughly you need to invest 2 crore, and the annual expenditure will be around 1 crore. So the net profit, if you are selling the 80% capacity utilization, 2 million plant, roughly it will come around 2 crore. So net profit one can earn around 1 crore if it is using the 80% of the production capacity successfully. And the break even may come in third year. So this is the basic idea. But it looks heavy investment when we come for the first generation entrepreneur. So what I would suggest, as a first generation entrepreneur, one can think about establishing a hardening unit in collaboration with the leading company. So what will happen? It will create some kind of synergistic effect, that main facility, main company is supported, supplemented by the regional hardening, RH, what I have written, regional hardening centers. And this will promote the local entrepreneurship at regional level. And also this will help in addressing the logistic in the supply chain as well. Because as a tissue culture plant, the main challenge is supplying the plant from one point to another point, one state to different state. So if you are having such kind of regional hardening center, that will increase the sustainability, and by increasing that, supplementing the supply chain. Now, this is for the information of our potential entrepreneur. MIDH, Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture. It has the scheme of credit linked back-end subsidy, which provides 40% subsidy of the entire project cost if the capacity is 2.5 million, means 25 lakhs. So 40%, and capping is maximum 1 crore. So what you need to do, you should be having detailed project report. You have to approach your banker. Then you need to get the NOC from the Pollution Control Department, and you need to have the LOI from the State Horticulture Department. With this, all the documents, you have to approach MIDH, so that if you're starting a venture, if it is subsidized, then there will be chances of better sustainability, what you're talking about. So as our VC madam told, Dr. Balindra Shukla ma'am, there is a conducive climate. Trainings are available, technologies are available, funding schemes are available, market demand is there, government is promoting a startup culture. So this is the right time to think about setting up facilities. Though when we talk about the many entrepreneurs, they will not give the same opinion. Somebody will tell this is a very difficult field, there is huge contamination, mortality, market competition, but it is there in all the businesses. But at the same time, there is a scope for at least 500 to scale company in each district. And in a small scale, it is very much successful. You can try new crop, better protocol for reducing the cost and increasing the return. So by that way, it will become the more sustainable. So with this, I talked about the startup, scaling up, and sustainability in the area of plant culture. Those particular students about the BCIL, we have completed a journey of more than 3 decades. Department of Biotechnology, it is created by the University of DBT, Department of Biotechnology, and all India financial institutions. They are our stakeholders, shareholders, and basically we are into the project consultancy, technology transfer, IP management, project management, information management. Then most important thing for this current conference, we have created a separate program which is called Plant Sculpture Program. And in this plant program, what we have identified 5 areas. That 5 areas will help the entrepreneur, will help the industry stakeholder, plant stakeholder to grow further and become a global leader in the area of plant culture, that is a quality stock culture. Still, we are depending on the import. Still, if as a commercial setup, sometimes we are not able to source the quality stock culture of the desired plant variety. Like banana, it is coming from many country, other country like Israel. Even somebody plants for the pomegranate or potato, there is a struggle. So quality stock culture is very important. Training, then documentation purpose, basically industry is relying on the handmade report and some kind of loose file. What I am trying, we are trying to create a software which will be kind of ERP, enterprise resource planning, which will help in planning of the production and the traceability. Traceability of the quality is very, very important. So with this thing, we also plan for the quality support system and information awareness program what MET is doing. BCL has also planned to conduct such program continuously in partnership with the stakeholder, so that with this 5 effort, definitely we shall be able to address the requirement of the industry. So I think with this, I should close, and I will be keen to listen our other experts and the feedback of the students. So any question, query, if audience have, I can address right now, or at the end I can do that as per the organizers. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, one and all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shukla. It was a very, very mesmerizing and informative talk, and I'm sure the students will be greatly benefited with this. Sushmita ma'am, we'll have the exercise now.
Yes. So, Dr. Shukla, again, it's with you only. You can take a little bit break of 1 minute, and then we will be going with the exercise, because it is already scheduled that we need to go with the exercise as well.
Okay, so I need to conduct that exercise.
Yes,
thank you so
please.
much.
Yes.
I'll do that.
And students, please be a part of this exercise. This is really going to give you some insights about yourself. So please be a part of it.
These slides are visible to the audience.
Yeah, again, you need to make it in slideshow mode.
And there is a Google form also that has been posted by Ritambara. So I think that needs to be.
Ritambra, just remove that. It's not supposed to be posted here now.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So basically, what I am doing, I will just inform the audience that we have 13 questions here, and the answers of those questions will come from the presentation we had just now. And even some of the questions, they are generic about the gene editing and artificial intelligence. So these are some basic assessing the awareness of the audience and particularly the potential entrepreneur. So I'll go one by one, and while going through, you can just think about your answer. And once I'll complete this thing, then organizer will provide Google link for the in their chat box, and all the audience will get that link. After clicking that link, you will get this question again, and just you have to submit your response. So for that, we'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes. After once I complete this detailing. So first question is that, just a minute. Gene editing is an important tool for getting desired trait. So you will be getting three options: false, true, or neutral. You don't have any idea. So this is the first one.
We need to be little bit slow as we are getting answers also in the chat box.
No answer will be given in the Google link.
Yeah, they will be giving it, but it seems they are so enthusiastic and they have started giving answer in the chat box also. So we can go with the
Just a
question
minute.
one by one, and then
this is the first one about the gene editing. Is important tool for getting the desired trait. Three options, and I think no need to give answer in the chat box. If you are giving, that is okay, no problem for us. But you will be getting link for that, and in link we'll be getting the same question again, and you can select the one option out of these three. So this was the first about gene editing. Then second one, which of the following is the most important for attaining sustainability of the business? Production process, workflow, the defined workflow, and market linkages. So you need to select the one which is the most suitable for attaining the sustainability of the business. Now the third one, it is asking about commercialization of plant-based culture, whether it will help in the meeting the challenges of food availability in developing country, particularly in developing country. Agree, disagree, neutral. What is your response on that? Now, special facility to promote the biotech entrepreneurship through establishing infrastructure by government initiative. Which type of facilities has been provided by government initiative to promote bio entrepreneurship? Which is the biotech park, IT park, or national park? Sometimes questions are also funny, but for the undergraduate, postgraduate student, this will be an idea what is biotech park, what is IT park. So one has to think and give the answer. Now the next one, which document you need to start, you need to have for starting a bio entrepreneurship? DPR, detailed project report, standard operating procedure, or your biography? What you need to convince the banker? 3 options: DPR, SOP, and biography. Now, how many goals defined for the sustainable development by UN? 16, 17, or 18? You need to select one. Should I move to the next one?
Yes, please.
Now, the important rootstock crop for the tisculture point of view in the Himalayan region. There is apple rootstock, grape, or strawberry. Which one is very important rootstock which has the commercial viability? So, 3 options you'll be getting: apple, grape, and the strawberry. Now the next question will be slow growing ornamental plant species of the northeast region of India. 3 options you'll be getting in your questionnaire: rose, jasmine, or orchid. You need to select the best suitable answer, which is highly relevant for this question. Now, widely used horticulture plant under commercial micropropagation. Which one? This is date palm, papaya, or banana. Which is widely used in commercial plant culture. Now, the plant culture is the futuristic way for sustainable development. What do you think? Disagree? Neither disagree or agree, or fully agree? You have to answer this. Now, application of artificial intelligence is indispensable for agriculture entrepreneur challenges that you have to provide your feedback: disagree, agree, neither disagree or agree. Then finally, the genome editing in crop is a dire need for the present day. You have to give your opinion: disagree, agree, again neutral, neither disagree or agree. So you have to think and answer this question. So these are 13 questions articulated, and I request the organizer to share that link, and for that we can devote, I think 1 minute is sufficient to answer this 13 question, but 2 minutes can be given before proceeding for the next presentation. So
we think we should give a little more time, as they are already doing it. They have already joined. So it was a very good exercise which has been given. And I think the students who have already listened and the participants who have gone through throughout the your presentation, many of the things you have already given. If the concept is clear for them, then it will be very, very beneficial for them to adapt to get the aptitude of about the entrepreneurship. So specifically through tissue culture has been taken, and few question has been asked about the artificial intelligence and also gene editing, where again 2 eminent experts are there who will be discussing an overall theme related to that. But at the same time, we have given this question, I think Dr. Shukla has given just to understand understand the understanding of the students or the audience who are here.
this is a basic generic question. Sometimes very interesting also. Sometimes some question are funny also. So just to keep the interest alive and give the feedback and create more awareness. So with
Yeah.
this, I will stop here, and I'll be remain available for any question answer throughout the program. Thank you so much once again to the organizer. Over to Dr. Susmita.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla. Now over to you, Dr. Anupama.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I think Sushmita ma'am, we can move forward. Meanwhile, the students can submit this exercise.
So yeah, we will be coming to the result a little bit later.
Yeah.
Let's see how the response we are getting. So
we can move forward then in that case. Fine.
We can move forward.
So now I invite the next speaker. Before that, I would like to invite Dr. Shukla again, the program director, to introduce Dr. Mukti Sadan Basu, Managing Director, SBSF Consultancy Services, Kolkata, for his session on application of AI to combat agricultural entrepreneurial challenges, which will be followed by quiz for all participants. So over to you, Sushmita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anupama, once again. And let me get an opportunity. It's very delighted to introduce about Dr. Basu. So, Dr. Mukti Sadan Basu is currently the managing director of SBSF Consultancy, and he is a highly professional, data-driven group of experts from diverse scientific and technology fields, including food, agriculture, and life sciences based in India, EU, and US. So that is the about the consultancy group, which is being headed by Dr. Basu. And previously, Dr. Basu was serving in the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICR, for last 36 years in various capacity. Importantly, as All India Project Coordinator and Director of National Research Center for Groundnut. During his tenure as a coordinator and director, Dr. Basu successfully led several international projects like United Nations Development Programme project on food and nutritional security through production of aflatoxin risk-free groundnut, then Australian Centre for International Agriculture Research on screening for water use efficiency in food legumes, then ACIR project on breeding for drought resistance in groundnut, international funding for agricultural development on farmers' participatory research in food legumes, European Union funded project on Bambara groundnut for food production in semi-arid Africa and India. Dr. Basu also has served at in ECRISET Asia Center as a visiting scientist, and UNIDO international consultant in Africa on aflatoxin management. In addition to that, Dr. Basu has held various positions like executive director, then Urvara Biotech, responsible for managing the entire business, vice president of Christian Seeds Limited, Hindustan Insecticide Limited of India Enterprises, New Delhi, as a consultant seed founder member of that particular organization, and so more. So many things are there to speak about Dr. Basu, but I will stop myself here and inviting Dr. Basu to be deliver his speech. So Dr. Basu, can we have you with us? Over to you.
Thanks, Susmita ji, for nice introduction. And I am personally grateful to the Amity University authorities, more so Vice Chancellors and the organizer committee members for giving me this platform to speak about recent developments, particularly in the areas of, information technology, artificial intelligence. So it's a unique opportunity for me, at least, to share certain views with you that your students as well as the participants in this symposium. Can I straight away come to slides?
Yeah, yes, sir. You can share it.
So
you need to go to your slide first.
Should I minimize it first and then?
Yeah, you need to minimize again. I think you need to.
Let me see.
Yeah. Now your screen board is there. You need to open your PPT, sir.
So minimize it. Do not close it. Minimize it.
Okay. Now it's visible.
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. So thanks, Susmita ji, for giving me an opportunity, and particularly talking on application of artificial intelligence to combat agricultural entrepreneur challenges. This is a very unique topic for me. Actually, whole life I spent in some other things while in active profession, and that's why I know the aflatoxin part slipped from my tongue. Basically, last involvement was in that particular field. So, but still, I'm learning in this, and it's a SBSF stand for Science, Business, and Sustainable Future. And there are really many challenges, old and new challenges for agriculture. And today I will talk about those challenges in some of the cases where applied data science and artificial intelligence to create products, what we have been doing, and that is for the benefit of the agriculture. But at the same time, I also want to emphasize in that particular area, those who are working, that our biggest challenge or pain rather in getting quality data, it is not the technology, but the availability of most relevant data to tackle the issues and the emerging questions. So in artificial intelligence, that is the biggest challenge. And for my expertise, you have already spoken, so I can skip the slide. Only what I wanted to mean, and particularly to your students, to send a message that change is the way of life. So it is not the traditional that going to an academic university, getting highest degree, then applying for job. I mean, the way we grew up, going to the most leading university, getting a good degree, and then applying to different governments, different private companies for a job. I think those days have gone, and now we will be job creator. And salute to MIT for propagating the culture. And probably that culture should be provided even by the traditional university, those who are simply producing graduates, postgraduates with a good degree. I understand, value their merits, and particularly their excellence in their subject, but that may not help alone. So one have to have entrepreneurial mind and see how you could be converted as a job seeker, from job seeker to job creator, and creating opportunity and employ your young stars around you. And just a small example how one can really successfully change. I started my career from a very traditional university, Calcutta University, and did all kind of read books, and my degree was in cytogenetics. Then from cytogenetics, when I got into the ICR, then I was converted as a plant breeder, breeding new crop varieties, transferring gene, and from there again got my higher degrees in actually biometrical genetics, and from biometrical genetics came to physiological genetics, and then in the areas of aflatoxin, mycotoxin, and then moved around the globe for quality improvement, both in terms of production and both in terms of quality, and particularly in those areas which is affecting human health. So there is a huge satisfaction. No, I did not stick to cytogenetics and did some all basic work, excellent work, wrote paper, and then end of the life. So that's the challenge. I am just requesting you, or openly keeping your mind open to take challenges and move to the more challenging areas. And that should be matching with your climate change, what is taking place. So I'm sure that you will take your mind to that direction. Now, science, business, and sustainability future that we are looking, and particularly through our local office in India, supported by office in Europe, those who are developing particularly equipments, instruments to map those kind of things, to make much more precision, and then the policy setting, what kind of policy should have the priorities, particularly from the US group. So these things are handling, and as you know that the support aspects what we are giving, it is across various production system, crops, and both conventional as well as organic. In India, that was our basic requirements and basic things we have been operating. And at the same time, in SBSF consultancy, we supported crop monitoring, evaluation, quality management, and implementation of organic adoption and certification, the new areas of Government of India, and then finally agricultural business, market development, financing, food policy regulation. Here one point I want to make, that particularly agricultural business, I had a little bit of special venture before taking that assignment. I had an opportunity to identify the most the commercially viable technologies developed by ICR over decades. So this is agro production protection technologies, not only in agriculture, but also in veterinary sciences, dairy sciences, fisheries sciences. to take out all those, I mean, mining all those technologies, those who are commercially viable and generated over 30 years or so, and then starting its commercialization by engaging entrepreneurs in different fields and then preparing bankable projects for them and see that particular technology takes ground for commercialization and creating employment opportunity. This was supported by NIP, National Agricultural Innovation Project, funded by World Bank for many years, and I had the opportunity to work there as independent consultant to NIP in agribusiness planning and development. So that's my basic ground from where I learned another dimension, making agriculture and allied subjects into commercial, I mean, into a commercial venture. Until and unless you make your agriculture as an industry and as a trade and commerce, probably agriculture will continue to remain the day it is, the unsustainable. So to make it sustainable, new generation must think in that particular line. So how business can be brought into the agriculture system. Now, coming to that, your SBSF consultancy, what we understand to data, and particularly every company can benefit out of the enormous public domain data available. Suppose in ICR we have 30 years of all India coordinated project data for wheat, millet, rice, groundnut, whatever crops you name. There are several agricultural, all India coordinated research organization, and several decades of data are available. Now, how to go, get access to those data, understand the nature, what is happening, how it is being changing, and particularly the development takes place. So here you need to learn about the shifting of data from one era to the other, convert it into a business strategic plan, and take it as a project development tool for basic intelligence, particularly artificial intelligence. You can derive from that, and the how it can be fitted with your machine learning, so that it becomes much more precise and it's more required for your precision farming. Artificial intelligence is nothing but to capture the ongoing changes, predict the future, what is going to happen, taking me long-term data, maybe of 50 years data. If you analyze, make use of satellite data and understand how it is moving, and you plan accordingly how you should really take your move in that changing direction. So our consultancy is based on a network of renowned experts from diverse scientific and technological fields, right from biotech to biometrics to data scientists. These are the team, at least operating from different countries and continents. And we have everyone in this, because it is not a single domain. It's a multi-domain, right from your animal science to plant science to fisheries science, and even agrometeorology to biotech, and involving field crops experts like me. So this is the thing. We are a very, very diversified, multidisciplinary team of scientists, and mostly from ICR and State Agricultural University system, my own system where I worked for 50 years almost. So we are now in a group encashing knowledge of each one and trying to save agriculture to address future challenges. So this is actually the SBSF was launched in 2018 when I returned back to Calcutta after 37 years. And then we registered a company here. Then initially we thought that, okay, we will be limiting to consulting all kind of changes, what is happening, what is required to make agriculture predictable and much more remunerative. But then we realized that it is not the consultancy alone can help. We need to go beyond. And then we started developing AI-based, thinking system, supporting system for a very sustainable and supportive agriculture. So that's the reason now our office is also registered in Europe, in particularly Germany, which my daughter is heading. So this is the work going on from the different experts from Spain, from France, from India, and from US. My own son is working in that particular area there in USA. So we are culturally rich, and more so you can tell that it's a kind of family business we have been started doing, originating as a cytogeneticist from ICR service. Now there are, as I said, that old and new challenges in agriculture. It's a huge challenges, particularly with the change of climate, and climate change has put up in the risk both the farmers and the policymakers and the scientists and the planners. So it's a huge area, huge task, right from subsistence farming with little or no crop rotation. If you can imagine 50 years ago what agriculture was there in India, lack of post-harvest storage and processing facilities, never there. Still it is less, particularly country is now producing beyond its requirement in terms of food grain, but we do not have really smart storage processes, and government is struggling hard to accommodate those produce, to create buffer stocks. So these are also a challenging area. Then of course, cultivation practices under extreme situation, that is another challenge. And biggest challenge is fragmented land and small holdings in our country. Millions of farmers are smallholders. Not even a hectare. The definition of smallholder is about less than 2 hectares, but it's a less than 1 hectare also is there in the challenged areas like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam, where lands are too fragmented as compared to your Gujarat, Punjab. So these things are happening, and particularly high input use because of the green revolution, from green revolution era to the present agriculture. Similarly, soil deterioration and depletion of natural resources, even the water. Sometimes I comment that in the form of rice export, we are not exporting rice, we are exporting water from India, because to produce 1 kg rice, it requires 5,000 liters of water, 4,000 to 5,000 liters of water. So this is what is happening. And now there are new pests and diseases, predators that are coming, which have made agriculture far more challenging. And with the shifting climate pattern, flood and water scarcity is there. We have flood. Millions of people die during the rainy season and flood, and at the same time there are water scarcity. Drinking water, even clean drinking water, is not available. That's the two contrasting situation. Particularly it's true for Asia, but more so now in India, what we are facing. And we are getting the pinch of it because we deal with the agriculture. Now, we have new pests and diseases, as I said, and here probably I would like to mention that very recently we are confronting with one deadly insects, that is fall armyworm. Apart from locust, which is really causing harm maybe once in 2 years, 3 years, or maybe once in 5 years, but the deadly pest which has come creating problem every year, that is called fall armyworm in maize. It's a devastating pest. It originated from USA during the fall season, in spring season, traveled to Africa. From there it entered into India and landed in Karnataka first, and we are getting for last 2-3 years that how devastating it has become, threatening our food security. And it is not the maize, all kind of gramineous species, the insect and rice and wheat also may not get free out of that. So it's again huge challenge, and here probably we need to invest more on artificial intelligence to understand the pest and how the country can get rid of that. And of course, then after that, even if you produce, trade and geopolitical instability around the globe is another challenge apart from the climate change. And then to combat those kind of things, you need to have intensive mechanization, and the solution for that. And intensive mechanization, particularly that should match the power of farmers in India, where it is mostly smallholders. AI can make the particularly drone, heavy machineries, robotic functions, harvesting through robot, anything can be done. But I mean, we have to see the affordability and maybe coming to a balance how India can derive benefit of those kind of changes. I mean, in using intelligence, creating robot or creating drone and making them use in agriculture. So now actually, as I said, that digital agriculture is the order of the day. Then advances in I mean farming, blending science, and there are a lot of environmental impacts that created by agriculture that are the real challenges again we are facing. And how come to that, how AI can really support those kind of agriculture where we are facing the challenge. So, sorry, some cases tackled by SBSF consultancy. Meanwhile, I will be trying to, I mean, emphasis here. As I said, that pest outbreak prediction, where we have been very successful in using artificial intelligence. Probably that could have been done when the locust was creating that kind of problem, I mean, since many decades. Maybe during our childhood while reading, I mean, in the colleges, reading on agricultural subjects, we came to know about that, I mean, attack of the locust. But that time probably our tools were no precisely available to understand those movement of the locust and before damaging the crop, how that can be, I mean, really managed to save the crop. But we have successfully applied. Just it's a 2 years problem that our fall armyworm in maize during 2020 it came and caused serious crop loss in Karnataka in maize, and we took into the aspects and then started working using artificial intelligence to tackle the fall armyworm. And we simply went to the public domain to capture the data, particularly for our I mean FAO data. There it's 18 million data sets are available, particularly in the public domain. We had a lot of data, particularly in India and Asia as a whole, and African data. So we collated all those data to look into the I mean fall armyworm movement, where and how it is coming and damaging the pest. And finally, we could match it with the production areas across the globe, from US, how it moved to Africa, from Africa, how it came to India, and I mean, how it is affecting the crop, particularly state level. And from Karnataka, now it has moved to Bengal. And by now, we have a specific approach to deal with the fall armyworm. And mostly it's a predictive approach to, I mean, forecast the outbreaks. And not only the forecast, the kind of shift in agriculture is required. Maybe if you understand that your fall armyworm may come in the month of July end or so, so probably at a particular stage they attack. And if we can really make sowing changes, I mean changes of the sowing pattern, the crop sequence, probably we can escape outbreak in that particular stages of the crop and minimize the devastation. Similarly, SBSF also concentrating more on the crop selection optimization. So in crop selection optimization, you need to know the area where you are growing a particular crop, the kind of adversities coming due to climate change, or the shift from your groundwater to soil nutrition to atmosphere, I mean temperature, high temperature, low temperature, what kind of changes are happening. And with that kind of changes, using I mean supervised algorithm, we can really come to a decision that it identified features like irrigation and soil composition, rainfall, surface pressure. We are able to make use of the data and predict the crops in a more efficient manner. These are the mapping of soil, climate, land scouting, crop location, use of climate data, historic data for say 100 years over the globe, whether it is in public domain or even we are buying some data for a very specific location or region, and then land data mostly available in public domain created by ICR, and finally going to crop statistics, land utilization type, and cultural practices. As I said, that by All India Coordinated Research Projects of ICR, which is again a historical project running over last 50 or 60 years, those data are most valuable data, and finally coming for the yield prediction. And once you give the yield prediction, earlier what was happening, if you remember, as a student of agriculture, initially we were going for statistical analysis, maybe multivariate analysis, looking at the G by E interactions, I mean genotype environment interaction, and from genotype environment interactions we came to crop idiotypes, as Duncan made, dwarf gene and all those things. Then adaptability, again, using Duncan multiple range tests, how one crop could be adaptable. These are all statistical tools to measure those kind of things, and really it was not that efficient. And finally, after that, we came to the era of artificial intelligence, and now we are much more equipped to predict crop production and productivity. So now, identifying agricultural land presenting similar situation and the particular crops opportunity, developing new or newly adapted capacity for other crops, and identifying new production sites, which are really an emerging issues, and that's technology is required to make agriculture remain dynamic. Say, small example is now the cacao, which was mostly the crop in South Africa, South America. Now, the production area is going down, and you will never know that such things could be very popular in India, and there are, with the climate change, we can plant those exotic crops which were never grown commercial in India, now started growing, and we are identifying those areas, maybe avocado, cacao, and you will be surprised to note that even in Assam, that in Bongaigaon area, now cacao plantation is going on commercially for meeting the needs of international needs for chocolate and other industry group. So this kind of climate change has given us also a new opportunity to work, and similarly we are working in the direction, apart from evaluation of carbon footprints based on GPS system, processing facilities, end user location, transportation, also that a part of our artificial intelligence to make your business much more productive, predictive, and remunerative. So yield prediction of a crop more broadly in a cluster or a land area, even we are coming to that specific niches, not the state as a whole or a zone as a whole, but now with this tool, with this powerful tool, we can come to a specific niche, and they are also create facilities and roadmap for making agriculture much more viable and remunerative. In fact, this is another dimension, say the high hills, and particularly the area abandoned couple of decades ago, not under cultivation. So now we are approaching or making access to that particular region, say a hilly region of West Sikkim. Government of Sikkim has given us an assignment to locate the crop which could be commercially cultivated there in high altitude. And using artificial intelligence, we have mapped those areas, we have predicted the crops using crop locators on which we are working. And it's again use of huge data available in public domain as well as in private domain, making use and ultimately coming precisely on a crop, that how really we can make use of the new system of crop cultivation, including horticulture, maybe new fishes, what kind of new fish may come because of the temperature change, change of water quality. So those kind of things are finding place, and now we are in a practical domain to take agriculture to even the highest elevation and bring all exotic crops that were never thought of. So this is orientation towards the future change, and the change has already started happening. So we have been able to do that kind of things now using crop locator. So we are working on about 80 cultivable crops and suitable for different hilly region. And I mean, we could see that in some of the cases, the crop was never known, the Arnica montana. So say, suppose it was not, I mean, a crop or commodity for commercial cultivation in certain region where agriculture was not that prominent, even cacao, asparagus and all those things, stevia, that because of using crop locator and using artificial based approaches, now we can pinpoint India at which place we should grow it commercially and where is the global market. And at the same time, the traditional producer in the globe, whether it is Africa's, South Asian countries, even Madagascar and other places where they were particularly dominating on those crops, now disappearing. And this is an opportunity for India to move in that direction. A simple thing, particularly say I mean, 4 decades ago, which was a drought-prone area, I mean, rain shadow area, now those are the areas, turned areas into a flooding area. So maybe if I say in crude word, where the arid crops was the only solution, particularly in that region, arid or semi-arid crops, there maybe time has come, or maybe after 10 years it may come, that paddy will be grown, rice will be grown in water stagnated condition. So there is nothing wrong in broadening your mind and assimilate, I mean, assume the changes you are going to have, keeping the ration and rationale, how it is moving. And in that direction, maybe day may come, I can think of growing rice, deep water rice in deserts of Rajasthan or deserts of semi-arid tropics of Gujarat. And Gujarat groundnut, which was known at a commercial crop for 300 to 500 millimeter rainfall, that may come in West Bengal, Assam, where they are becoming rain shadow. So these are the challenges to introduce new crops as well as change your crops within the country from one region to the other region, meeting the climate requirements. So this is very important, and you can see how we map these areas using satellite data, and particularly creating the identifying the production areas that where which crop can be fitted most. And that's the thing, new entrepreneurial development can take place, and here the competition will be less, because if you are advanced bit in that particular direction, and those entrepreneurs, they can really make use of those information and come say 10 years in advance that what is going to happen in India. And for that, if their preparedness is there, really agriculture, the changing agriculture can be I mean, changed into a much more remunerative agriculture than what is there as on today. So I mean, this is the picture you are getting from Arnica montana, from where the medicine is grown. And at the same time, we have some kind of I mean, other crops from where the aroma is I mean, make use, particularly from the Madagascar areas. Now they are not growing there, and we are trying in India and finding the I mean, actual production area where it could be much more profitably grown. Now coming to the yield performance and prediction, that is also very important. We are making use of artificial intelligence, particularly in that area, to understand the yield prediction. That is very important. So crop-in company is already there. So right from the cost, risk, and revenue, the whole agriculture is revolving in that, and there are very many players in that particular goal. And there are many private, national, international agencies are already in the job, and they are our strength rather than competitors, and we share knowledge each other. And at the same time, apart from the yield prediction and activities, particularly due to the numerous complex factor, as I said, that artificial intelligence, data science is really making agriculture much more precision. And we can make use of data science for precision farming. Now this morning, we talked about biotech banana, but with the climate change in place, maybe tomorrow by that banana production areas, whether it is in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, which are the largest producer, probably India is the world largest producer of banana, but those things may get shifted. So we need to know particularly the most viable production area for banana, for tissue culture banana. Again, I came to know that there are lot many tissue culture banana produced, but now there are very less taker. I mean, a reverse trend which was not there 5 years ago. Maybe it's a point to investigate whether those changes are associated with the climate change, change in production area, quality, factors, and all those. Of course, disease pest is also there. So it is an holistic, it is artificial intelligence, not a simple domain. It's a domain right from the crop adaptability to crop performance, crop weather relation, and then the biotic and abiotic stresses that is affecting particularly yield, quality, and as a whole, the agriculture in this country. So it's really having, I mean, application beyond, even in the supply chain, as I said, right from storage, aflatoxin development, or maybe heavy metal accumulation in the soil, and arsenic concentration in the soil. Those things have to be recorded to optimize your value chain and keep your value chain to make the food use. So yes, and just now I was referring about some kind of aromatic crops, which vetiver, which is for South Africa and South American crop. They were used to supply to France for your essence. But now production area is going down drastically because of the ecological, geopolitical reasons. And now the European community, they are those who are in this particular billion, trillion dollar business, looking forward to the new production areas. And that's the opportunity we can really match. Now we have found that where India, we can produce, matching the production areas of Southeast Asia, South Central America, and other countries where it was a commercial crop. So probably time has come to come from those regions to our own region, and maybe we can make use of those crops as a resource revenue generation or exporting purpose, employing our youths and particularly those who are looking for new jobs in that particular area of agriculture. So hunting new production sites is really an opportunity, and artificial intelligence, machine learning is the way that they provide opportunity for this. So question may come, are we become, dull? We are not intelligent. Human intelligence has gone so that we are depend artificial intelligence? No, it is not true. Human intelligence is the super intelligence, but to nurture the super intelligence under a very conducive climate of intelligence, a holistic approach of making uses of all intelligence available around, that's the reason why we are trying to depend or putting those data into the artificial intelligence and getting machine learning information that is again being translated in the field to generate revenue, make our agriculture much more dynamic. So it is moving together with all tools in hand. It is not that only package of practices. Earlier we used to make a specific blanket recommendation, crop-wise, zone-wise. Our traditional agriculture in ICR or the State Agricultural University, students were taught to do that. You say crop, I will give you the recommendation, NPK, I will give you the plant protection measure, I will give you the irrigation requirements, and ultimately at harvest, what you have to do in the post-harvest level, and then marketing. Maybe from roadside marketing to e-marketing, but that's not the end, and it cannot really help, particularly in making agriculture dynamic with the growing challenges in agriculture. So here all intelligence available are to brought together and see that it can effectively address the challenges what we are facing. It's a time and cost equilibrium that we are also making, and Fortunately, we have satellite data available to run the models, and we have Internet of things to to make use of the data, and that is application based data are also available. We are looking at the optical characters, also recognizing the digitalized farm logs, where the entries are made by hands and extremely difficult to transform them without huge manual work. But now, to get rid of that, we are looking for optical character recognition. These are the most valuable resources, as a lot of historical data is stored away. And these logs, from logs, we are also thinking to moving into farm level data collecting by using sensors, local weather stations, and mobile based application. The goal here is to use large data sets in combination with very specialized farm level data, and to draw the reference from it. So make it, ultimately, the objective is to make it much more perfect. And before concluding my presentation, what I would like to emphasize here is the next big leap in agricultural green revolution brought about improved varieties by generous inputs use with specific knowledge and use of agricultural knowledge in the service. Domain knowledge is important, but domain knowledge has to be transferred to the knowledge of climate science, data scientists, and both data scientist group and the domain knowledge group, they should have a crosstalk. Until and unless you have a crosstalk with the domain knowledge scientist and the data scientist, or those who are creating artificial intelligence, machine learning tools, or application using Internet of things, we must see that we can converse easily and we have a crosstalk in each and every area. So that's the thing where you can really make a success. And fall armyworm, as I said, in 3 seasons we could at least publish a paper, huge paper, giving all kind of dimension in that particular area, how India should move apart. And similarly, now we have also started alerting, particularly we have taken banana, and after banana, now we have gone to the orchard plants, and how data science will be helping orchard crops to survive for a longer period, to face the changes, climate changes, and what kind of role we have to play there in mitigating those challenges. And advanced warning system also, particularly in apple orchard, we find a severe infestation of particular pests and disease. Pests are coming, not disease, particular pests are coming. That has devastated particularly the different horticultural crops in Spain and other countries, particularly the olive. In Spain, olive, there are devastating pests damaging, say 50 years, 100 years old orchards. And same may travel as the fall armyworm travel to India, and we may lose our gardens, particularly apple orchard gardens. And now here our third approach is to track those pests, and whether it is going to create problem with the apple orchard in Himachal and other places, that SBSF is on the role for studying those, the challenges which is coming in a big way, maybe after 10 years, 15 years. So that is the area where the artificial intelligence we are really trying to do. And I am sure that new groups, entrepreneurs, they will take it as a tool for making use those information in their business plan and make their business much more dynamic. So I think with this, I can conclude, but will be happy to answer if there are any questions in the question answer session.
Thank you so much. Yes, Dr. Anupama, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this was really about integrating the domain knowledge with the new age technologies like AI and blockchain. And we should say that Amity University is indeed proud because we have been talking about education 4.0 in terms of disruptive technologies, where we are trying to integrate all these technologies within the domain knowledge of bioscience and biotechnology. So it was indeed a very, very interesting talk. Yes, Shishmita ma'am. Now quiz, I think.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Really, it was a wonderful talk which you have given. And really, it's the matter of thought to rethink that we need to integrate AI. About the banana production, which you have said that yes, it is going the reverse way. The production is more as compared to the takers are less. So that is again the point which need to be taken. And definitely integrating both plant tissue culture as well as your AI will definitely move the all the agriculture part towards attaining all the SDGs, maximum of that. Thank you so much for your kind presence, sir. And if any questions are there, I would like
Just one point to make to encourage our students. I am also an entrepreneur here, like a student in artificial intelligence. My discipline was altogether different. I mean, several kilometers away from such things.
Yeah.
We were frightened with the statistics. I mean, while dealing with the crop idiotyping and all those things, I mean, particularly crop modeling, where it's a lot of statistical designs. And so now from there, slowly moving in that. So excuse me if I have missed something, but trying to learn artificial intelligence and making our agriculture much more robust and dynamic. And I will be happy to be associated with, Professor Shukla in tissue culture banana, because we have a lot of data now on the, banana aspects in using artificial intelligence. Thanks.
That's great. We will sure collaborate with you and will come with some of the important thing. And Dr. Shukla is also there from BCIL. He already going for the commercial plant tissue culture. So jointly, something very good thing can come about. And definitely we will.
Yeah, there is a good possibility of collaborating efforts.
Nice, sir. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, before I would like before I like to post the other quiz session, I want that all the participants should be entering to the quiz, and then you will be moving with that. But before that, I would like to make a comment on the response which we really got from the previous exercise which we did. So that was a quite of good response which we got. And out of that, for first question, which was gene editing is an important tool. So maximum of them has said, yes, it is a dire need. So it's an important part. And then will commercialization of plant tissue culture help in meeting the challenges? So about 41% has said, yes, they strongly agreed. And then rest of the others are there. Moving to the next question, which was there, which of the following is the most important to attain sustainability of business? So we got the responses. About 33% of them said production process, and then 38.5% said about workflow, and then 28% said about market linkages. So again, it seems when we are going for the different thing that yes, creating awareness is very, very important. Before we start for entrepreneurship, we should go for such kind of exercises. We should find out what are the different answers. As I can see with the answer, it also reflects that yes, awareness somewhere is a little bit missing, which we need to take forward. For example, again, a special facility to promote some of the thing is already there, but keeping in mind the business opportunity and the startups, I can see the result and the responses which are there is again we need to handhold the students regarding this particular field. So that is why this workshop has been planned to motivate the young minds who are there and going towards this field. And definitely with the eminent speakers who are there with us, they will be helping our students as well. Participants already there, and the industry people from industries has also joined us. So they definitely will be a very good part to be there among us and to motivate all the students related to the entrepreneur skill. With this, I would like now to paste the link of the quiz so that students who are already there, they can just paste it. Yeah, the link has been pasted. Now 5 minutes you will be getting. I would request every one of you to just go through the quiz hurriedly, and within 5 minutes we will be compiling this and moving to the next session. So we can wait for the next session. Meanwhile, I would also request audience to keep posting their questions here, and we can take those questions. They can raise their hand, so I can ask the IT person to just allow them to speak here. Just keep check. Shall we wait? Dr. Anupama, I think we can.
We can start. The students can keep giving the quiz. We can start actually.
No, we need to go for the quiz also, as we need to see the number of students as well.
Okay,
So I
fine.
think
So we'll
go with
wait.
that.
So then we'll wait for them to finish.
We'll wait.
Yeah.
So that they start attempting.
Yeah.
And then we can move.
Yeah. We have about 298 participants as of now, what I can see.
Yeah, 300 is the full capacity. We are full with all the audience.
There are students who are trying to enter, but
yeah, we are full, so they are not able to go for. So just check and let me know if the attendance is there, attempting or not. The organizing team can take care of that.
That Ritambara, the one.
Organizing team, yes, organizing team. I've asked him. So meanwhile, we can check if we can share the screen and all. I think Dr. Bansal is already there with us.
Yes, ma'am, he's there.
Yes. We'll just, I know he's not busy, so let's see. So few more seconds we can start with. If any question is there, you just keep checking the question answer session there. So I talked to Sai sir. Is Sai sir available with us?
Sai sir is there.
The link is given, as it is very important to get the certificate. Certificate will be obtaining after the quiz is being attempted. So I request everybody to just go for the quiz and just let me know if you're able to open the link or not. Just text Dr. Anupama. Can you text in the chat box if they're attempting?
Ma'am, we will not know through this. They will.
I am checking that. You just text in the chat box that they need to.
Please, okay, yeah, I'll put that.
Yeah.
For the sir.
वो मुझे.
हाँ, मैं वो कर देती हूँ.
Now again we are moving in the faster. This quiz is very important for everybody to attempt. It is directly linked to your certificate. So I would request everybody to just go for the quiz hurriedly, and we will go, and we are already moving along with our time. We are maintaining our time schedule. So I'm thankful to Dr. Anupama for understanding this and taking throughout. Dr. Sai, if you're there, can I call you here? If I know sir is very busy in the examination.
Examination work is yeah, first year examinations are going on, so probably he's held up there.
No problem. He's already there. We'll call him. So students, fast, because I've said that this link will be open only for 10 minutes, right? After that, it will be closed. So you need to do it little fast. Can we move forward? Let me check along the time schedule. Let me wait for a few more minutes. Let's see. So I think students have already declared, the participants have already declared that is already linked to your certificate, you need to go for attempting the quiz, and then only this thing is there. So you need to go for the quiz. So now, Dr. Anupama, I think we can call our next
go. Fine.
eminent speaker.
Sure, Sushmita ma'am. So now I invite Dr. Sushmita Shukla to introduce Professor K.C. Bansal, Secretary, National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, for his talk on genome editing in crops, applications, and SDGs. Over to you, Sushmita ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anupama. And it's a great opportunity for me to introduce Dr. Bansal, who don't know Dr. K.C. Bansal. So just a formal introduction of Dr. Bansal. Professor Bansal obtained doctoral degree with gold medal from country's premier institute, that is Indian Agriculture Research Institute. He pursued advanced research from Harvard University, Cambridge, USA. Since his return from USA, he occupied eminent position as professor in plant biotechnology at IARI New Delhi, coordinator of national projects on transgenics in crops, and director of National Bureau of Plant Genome Resources, New Delhi. He was the first to get selected from the prestigious Norman Borlaug Chair, that is ICR National Professor for Crop Improvement. So currently Professor Bansal is serving as Secretary of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences and is the member of Board of Directors, Global Plant Council. He is also an editorial board of Plant Biotechnology Journal, UK. His research interest includes genome engineering and functional genomics for enhancing abiotic stress tolerant in crop plants. He has published over 150 research articles in journals of international repute, including Nature Biotechnology and Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, USA. He was instrumental in implementation of international treaty on plant genetic resources for food and agriculture in India. He was elected as vice chair from Asia for 15th regular session of Commission on Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture of the United Nations 2013-2015. Professor Bansal has won several awards, and to cite a few, the highest award of the ICR for individual contribution, that is the Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award. Secondly, an award of Indian Science Congress conferred upon by Honorable Prime Minister of India, and the Biotech Career Award of Rockefeller Foundation, USA, Recognition Award of National Academy of Agriculture Science, the prestigious of Haryana Vigyan Ratna conferred upon by Honorable Governor and Chief Minister of Haryana. Then Professor Bansal was also awarded as the second highest award of National Academy of Agricultural Science by Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Government of India. Professor Bansal has already supervised over 20 doctoral students and impaired training to over 500 scientists and scholars at national and international level. Many of his students got national level awards like Jawaharlal Nehru Best Thesis Award of the ICR, National Young Science Award, and IRI Gold Medal. As director of the NBPGR, Professor Bansal was conferred upon the Research Leadership Award for his outstanding contribution in research, education, science coordination, and management. He is the fellow of two prominent science of academies of India, National Academy of Agriculture Science and the National Academy of Sciences in India, and now as a secretary of National Academy of Agriculture Sciences, he is giving his services. So that's all from my side. So Professor Bansal, I would request now to please come on and give your speech.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I will start sharing my screen first.
Sure, sir.
Can you all see my slides, please?
Yes, sir, it's coming. It's not in slideshow mode.
Is it there now?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to this particular meeting on bio-entrepreneurship and associated with sustainable development goals. I'm very thankful to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MIT University, Uttar Pradesh, that is Dr. Balvinder Shukla, and also to Dr. Mrs. Sushmita Shukla the associate professor in the Institute of Biotechnology, for inviting me to make this presentation. Well, I have already myself got enriched, actually speaking with the previous two speakers who made excellent presentations, both Dr. Shukla and Dr. Basu. And I'm very much, in fact, thankful to them as well, that they were there on board and I could listen to them, before my presentation. And the topic allotted to me, as you all can see, is genome editing in crops with regard to applications in agriculture, and how can we try to use this technology for meeting the sustainable developmental goals. And before I talk of sustainable development goals, I would just like to inform you all that for the first time in the existence of about 75 years of United Nations, a United Nations Food System Summit was organized in September 2021, wherein the key message which emerged, one of the key messages which emerged from Secretary General's chair summary is this, that global initiatives are needed to enforce the ambition of science-based solutions as the key to deliver on the 2030 agenda. So here, the emphasis is given on science-based solutions. And to meet this agenda, we call it as 2030 agenda, which is nothing but the sustainable goals. We talk about it. My slides are not moving. Maybe it will take a minute to come.
IT team, can you please help?
No, it's just moved, don't worry. I think so, should. Yes, it's moving.
Yes.
So this is the slide I was referring to, wherein we're talking of course, already been presented by Dr. Shukla before about these United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030. There are 17 goals, as you can see here, and important with regard to agriculture or crops. Of course, no poverty is important. And then zero hunger, he mentioned about it already, zero hunger, that is goal 2, and goal 13, climate action, while there are many others actually speaking, which are directly or indirectly related with our improvement in agriculture or production in a sustainable mode. When we talk of climate action, I mentioned before, and zero hunger are the two where I'm going to lay more emphasis on, when I talk of the use of these measuring technologies. So the goal 2, you can see here, is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. All are very important. I repeat here, end hunger, achieve food security, means the quantity of food is important. At the same time, improve the nutrition, the quality of the food is important, and all that we need to achieve in a sustainable fashion. Therefore, we need to promote sustainable agriculture with minimal damage to the environment. That's the message here in goal number 2. And also we know that by 2050, it is expected that another 2.4 billion people will be added to the population of the developing world, particularly in the world. If we are already now close to about 7 billion, we would be about 10 billion, actually speaking, by 2050. And also by 2050, the agriculture sector therefore must expand by 60% to meet the increasing demand due to continuously increasing the human population. So that's also important, in addition to, I mentioned before, meeting all the challenges of sustainable development goal in a sustainable fashion without damaging the environment. So therefore, what is the possibility? Possibility is only by increasing the crop productivity, and that too, with the currently we are facing the climate change problems and issues are many. So what I feel, and many of us, the scientists who have been associated with this technology or modern biotechnology for the last about 30 years, that gene editing has the potential to achieve food security, to develop more resilient and climate smart crops, to counter the mounting threat of climate change and its adverse impact on global food security. Genome editing, actually speaking, to me, it appears as a scientist with my 40 years of experience, has come as a boon, and which you all can say not only science-based, but also nature-based solution to finding, solutions for climate resilience or food security together, to meet the sustainable goals. But I would just like to remind here, before I talk more about on genome editing, that this is an improvement over the existing technology of plant genetic engineering, where we were able to develop, as we called before, genetically modified crops or GM crops for improving crop production. And already in about 30 countries, about 190 million hectares is under these genetically modified, or we call them GM crops. And this technology was awarded heavily to the inventors of these genetic engineering tools. These are three of them: Dr. Man Montagu, Meridel Chilton, and Robert Fraley. They three of them together published a paper when for the first time they showed that a bacterial gene or a gene from a heterologous system can be expressed in plants from improving the quality of the crops. And there are many examples. I don't want to go into the details of it, but important is that this was an important tool, and they were awarded the World Food Prize in 2013. 1983 was the time that they all three individually, without knowing each other, discovered the same kind of a feat of genetic engineering by expressing a bacterial gene into a plant system. In 1983, they published papers in the best journals of the world. And 30 years later, they could see there's a lot of impact and on agriculture, globally speaking, and therefore they were awarded the World Food Prize 30 years later in 2013. And now continuing with this improvement I mentioned before over this technology, I'm not going to compare in my presentation today. Normally I do it when I talk only about this technology, but then if there are questions, I'll be very happy to compare what is the difference between genetic engineering and genome editing. So anyway, it's an improvement over genetic engineering that we have technology today. We call it as genome editing. And genome editing, of course, also got a Nobel Prize, as you all know, to these two important scientists, Dr. Emmanuel Charpenter and Dr. Jennifer Doudna, a Nobel Prize for the chemistry in 2020. And also, when you talk of bioentrepreneurship, I thought I'm myself not a bioentrepreneur, by the way. I'm a hardcore scientist, and I think I'm a teacher and a professor to talk to the students. But nevertheless, I would like to motivate them for sure, using this technology, the ample opportunities that they can enter into bioentrepreneurship or startups, because there is a growing market of this gene editing technology. If it is today about, let's say, $4 billion in 2020 or 21, it's likely to grow to even 13, even more, as I have come across many of the estimates as well, by 2028 or by 2030, just in 8 years. And it's going to grow at the compound annual growth rate of more than 15%. The estimates also, it might even go to 22%. So there's a very good potential of utilizing this genome editing technology, not in agriculture, but also in health and pharma sector, if you want to take it as a bioentrepreneurship program or startups for some of those budding students and also scientists. But also, before I go further, I would like to make here one point clear, that my presentation will be mostly, of course, for the researchers, the students, and also there could be a continuum or could be a dialogue between the two, the researchers and the startups, or the bioentrepreneurships, those who would like to start up. They would always like to keep a kind of a tie-up with those researchers and students, so that any kind of a new advanced technology is being built up. It is also fed into their, their startups or their program, to make an impact further for the growth of their company, whatever they like to. So I think for me, both are important. And therefore I go further and try to talk about its relationship, the application of genome editing technology with regard to sustainable development goals. So this is Jennifer Doudna, who got the Nobel Prize in 2020 from University of California, USA. And sometimes, just you can see a few months ago, on October 5, 2021, she gave a talk. And one of the messages of her talk was this, that CRISPR-based solutions will allow farmers to adapt to a changing climate and sequester more carbon, which is very important. We've forgotten about it, actually speaking. So she's reminding us through this technology can sequester more carbon while preserving prized regional varieties, which also we have forgotten for a long time, actually speaking, again, our indigenous varieties. So she's reminding them to preserve, these prized regional varieties. And there is an incredibly important role of this technology in protection of small farmers. So please underline the changing climate, sequestering more carbon back into the soil, and then also protecting your own regional and indigenous varieties by the smallholder farmers and protecting their interest. All is possible, and that is to, in fact, diversify more of agriculture through CRISPR-based genome editing technology. But for the sake of students, I would just like to explain this technology. They must try to understand it well. While in case of genetic engineering, we don't make precisely at a given point predictably any break into the genome. It does break, of course, the genome, but we don't know at random it happens. Whatever the integration of a new gene will happen, it will all happen at random. But here what we're doing is the scientists have discovered, an enzyme called Cas9, which is CRISPR-associated Cas9, is the endonuclease, which creates a double-stranded DNA break. If this is the DNA, double-stranded DNA, as you all know, it will create a break here. And that break, which is not shown here as such, but is shown here, then needs to be repaired. And there are different mechanisms by which it can be repaired. And as a result of that, you can achieve what you want. We call it as genome editing. So first is that this break automatically can be repaired by the machinery which is available in a plant cell or any cell for that matter of an organism through a process we call as non-homologous end joining. This otherwise also these kind of by accident, the DNA gets broken because of various radiations, etc. in a system, and that needs to be repaired. So any cell has a machinery to repair it. And as a result of that, what happens, there are certain deletions or insertions of the new nucleotides will be added here, and then, in a way, the function of this particular gene will be deleted. In the language of editing, we call it as delete, and also we call it as site-directed nuclease 1, SDN1. It has been given this name, and it happens as a result of CRISPR-mediated Cas9 double-stranded DNA break, and followed by its repairing. That is something naturally it's happening, and we're utilizing the benefit of this. If you want to create any non-function, if you want to kill the function of a particular gene, this is the best way that you can do it. Now, second is that you want to correct the gene. I mean, we know that certain nucleotides need to be changed anywhere in the gene sequence. In gene, as you all know, will have sequences called promoter sequences, coding sequences, terminator sequences, etc. So anywhere in the gene, if you find through genomics, of course, one has to study the genomics in a big way, that if you find certain nucleotides needs to be changed, then you supply to the plant cell some portion of that particular gene where you have this corrected sequence of those nucleotides, as shown here in green. These are the corrected ones, which we want it to be replaced with the ones which are not functional, in the endogenous gene present in a plant cell for that matter. So we supply, we call it as a template. This is a template. And this process is called homology directed repair, which is template based, exogenous, template we call it. And then, through the process of homologous recombination, this break, will be precisely occurring here, and those, nucleotides will be replaced and the gene function will be corrected. So in real time, what we're doing is editing it. Whatever the bases were here, which was not functional, we're editing, and we call it as STN2. Now, the third category is that you supply not only the small nucleotides here, but you can supply the full length gene from any source for that matter. Here it is only the endogenous gene which is being corrected of a plant cell, for example. Here also this endogenous gene which is being corrected. Here it is, like deleting the function, here the gain of function. And here we are supplying altogether a new gene from any other source, just like we do it in case of genetic engineering for that matter, not only plants, for any organism, except that this will be only targeted on a well-defined location through the process of homologous recombination, which is not possible so far, as we all know, through the process of classical genetic engineering. So here what we call it in terms of editing language, call it as insert, and this we call it as SDN3. So remember, we're talking of three categories, SDN1, SDN2, you're repairing or modifying the endogenous gene sequences present in the native species, no foreign DNA here at all. But here there is a foreign DNA, which of course is as good, as genetic engineering, except the improvement here is that this is in a targeted fashion. And remember, another point here is that these SDN1 and SDN2 do not result in any novel combination of genetic elements. See, there's a lot of hue and cry, as you all know, probably against this technology, while according to us, the scientists, there's nothing to worry about it. But nevertheless, it's mostly because, we have got some novel combinations of genes added, when we talk of genetic engineering. But this is also not even the case when we talk of SDN1 or SDN2, which I explained to you. Coming back to now, the issues related to climate change and applying this, gene editing technology. Again, the same time, Dr. Jennifer Doudna, when she was giving this lecture on October 2021, see, there are two messages very clear here she has given to the world. One is, of course, I already mentioned by 2050, the population will be about 10 billion. That's one point. Second is that the food system is responsible for about generating, okay, 35% of greenhouse gases. We call it as greenhouse gas emissions are a culprit, for this global warming and climate change. And food system alone, without which we on this earth cannot survive, contributes no less than 35%, which is more than 1/3 in a way you can say. So the question is, how do we take care of both simultaneously? Feed the people at the same time with less greenhouse gas emissions, etc. So here genome editing can help our growing population through these goals. One is increasing the yields and land use efficiency. Increasing the yields and land use efficiency, by which we mean that you increase the yield per unit area, per unit time. Today, if India is harvesting more than 300 million tons of food grains out of, let us say, cultivable land of 140 million hectares, can we try to harvest the same 300 million tons in half of the land by doubling the productivity, increasing the yields? Whether that is possible, that's something we're talking about, increasing the land use efficiency. Also, helping farmers adapt to the effects of changing climate, making crop plants more resistant to diseases, and improving nutrition. This is with regard to meeting the demands of the growing population in a sustainable manner. And the other one is that plants and microbes can be solution, not part of the problem. Here it appears as if plants are, or agriculture in general, is a part of the problem. Certainly we all know it is a part of the problem. Agriculture has damaged the environment. As agriculture is contributing to the greenhouse gas emissions, it is certainly a part of the problem. But using these technologies like genome editing, can we convert them from a part of the problem to the part of the solution? And that's what it is possible through this, by reducing greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture, for example, methane from rice paddies, and then minimizing farmer inputs, for example, fertilizers and pesticides. And this is something which is also going to help increase the income of the farmers, because they have to then spend less money and with more output. And then increasing long-term carbon sequestration back into the soils, which is very, very important. If we can do that, and by capturing even more carbon from the atmosphere, which is increasing actually more and more. I remember 1985, when myself, I was a student, used to measure it, carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere used to be 360 ppm. And today, now 40 years after, it is about more than 400, I think 410 or 420 ppm. It's increasing, which is also adding to the global climate change and global warming. And therefore increasing, or capturing the increased concentration of carbon dioxide by genome editing the plants, by improving their photosynthetic efficiency, it is possible that we bring them from back, this carbon capturing from the atmosphere back into the soil to the plant system. Now, when we talk of, one of the messages here was making plants more resistant to diseases or to abiotic stresses. Actually speaking, I'm give some examples here. Now, I mentioned before that one of the ways by which you can edit a gene, that you can, achieve a loss of function of that particular gene. Now, there is a locus, which is causing susceptibility to a particular disease called powdery mildew in tomato and other plants. This locus is called as mildew-resistant locus, MLO, which is conserved again through monocots and dicots, but it confers a susceptibility to a particular fungus causing, powdery mildew disease. So a simple question is, therefore, when this technology came into existence, and it took birth only, by the way, in 2012, 2013, got a Nobel Prize just 7-8 years later. You can imagine the power and impact of this technology it has. And so therefore, immediately the question will be in our mind that if this is the gene which is the culprit, okay, and which function is causing susceptibility to a particular disease, if we knock the function out of this gene, delete the function, as I mentioned before, through non-homologous end joining, or otherwise, this is, if it is done, will the plants become resistant? So here there are some examples given based on the sequencing, whether the particular portion of the gene was deleted or not. You can see here, wild type sequence is given here in full. And these plant 1, 2, and 8, 3 plants, and even plant 10, you can see this part of the gene was deleted. That means obviously about 48 to 49 base pairs were deleted out of that particular gene to make it non-functional. And as a result, the susceptibility of the plant in wild type, non-edited plants, got converted into a resistant type of these plants you can see against powdery mildew disease in case of tomato. So that's an example, a beautiful example. And this happens all in total about 2 to 3 years of time. Whereas conventional plant breeding, first of all, we would not precisely be able to change the gene which we want to, precisely I'm talking about in a predicted manner. Second, it will take no less than 8 to 10, in case of even certain crops, even 15 years. This you can achieve in 2 to 3 years in a very predictable fashion, that you are precisely mutating a gene and making it non-functional to make the plants resistant. Now here, this is another example in rice, making the plants resistant to bacterial leaf blight. Bacterial leaf blight, in fact, what happens when this particular bacteria will sit on the plant cell, for example, in case of rice here, it will release a particular protein, and that protein will make functional some of the genes of the plant themselves, which are otherwise making, kind of glucose for this bacteria to feed on. Okay, and that's how this bacteria will multiply and will eat away, you can see the glucose or sucrose from these plants, carbohydrate, and therefore it causes susceptibility, and ultimately, as you know, plant will die. So this is the susceptible part of, the crop I'm talking about, particular variety. Okay, so now scientists thought that if this particular protein is going and binding to a particular sequence, okay, we call it as promoter sequence of the gene, so that it will, then it's making the expression of other proteins or enzymes which are required in transporting glucose from the cell near to the bacteria where it is sitting, which has already been demonstrated, by the way, already confirmed scientifically. So the scientists thought if we can mutate certain sequences of promoter part of the gene, then this particular protein effector, we call it as transcription activator like effector, being released by this bacteria, then it will not be able to go and bind to that sequence if you change that sequence. Only few bases if you change. And therefore, as a result, the downstream expression of those genes, or in a way, the plant cell will not be able to make any more glucose or transport it to the bacteria for its survival and multiplication and growth further. So those genes actually are called sweet genes, means that they're making glucose, actually, and therefore therefore making these sweet genes, mutate, so that particular protein from bacteria will not sit on them. And as a result, you can see here, these plants become resistant. There are 3 different varieties, 3 different races of that Pseudomonas, actually, which has been tested. But this is variety 1, this is variety 2, and this is variety 3. In all the 3 cases, you can see there's an excellent resistance developed only by that small change in a particular promoter sequence. But before that, of course, you need to have the information about which gene, what promoter sequence, biochemical, genomic studies need to be all carried out, which is now, fortunately, with regard to genome sequencing, is available in most of our crop plants. So this was the second example I gave you of resistance. The third example is with regard to abiotic cyst tolerance. I've been working on abiotic cyst tolerance myself for quite a long time. Normally, the dilemma is that while you make the plants resistant to a stress, the yields will not increase as much, will come down. The plants will happily survive, no doubt, in stress, but we need to grow them as well, agricultural scientists, and for farmers' benefit. It's important that they also produce more, when they're under stress. So here, the ABA receptors, I don't want to go into the details of it. If you mutate the ABA receptors, then you can see here, this is the non-edited plant of rice. This is the edited plant of rice. These plants, even under stress, they are doing much better in terms of growth. Of course, they measured only in potted plants. Later, they verified in field conditions as well in China. And here you can see the yield. In fact, if it is, though it is, I can translate it into hectares level, certainly not. But as you can see, the phenotype of the plants, or even otherwise the measure, the growth or yield of this plant, if it is 1500 gram here, it's gone to near to 2000 gram. There's about 30 to 35% increase, in these edited plants. So this is an advantage, again, of this technology, making plants resistant, not only to drought, but also to high temperature, to salinity stress, etc., etc. And this is, of course, the example of salinity stress in India alone. At IRI, one of the scientists, Dr. Vishwanathan, has mutated certain gene, we call it as DST, drought sensitive, drought and salinity tolerant gene, DST gene in rice. They mutated it, and they found that these, mutated plants survive better, after recovery from a particular salt stress. And their flag leaf width has increased, The flag leaf area has increased in these genome-edited plants, and their survival rate has increased more than 60% as against 20% in case of wild type. And this is now being tested under field conditions. And again, the results are very encouraging and excellent, with regard to mutating a single gene, well-defined gene, which of course they're pursuing further. Now, another example here I'm showing you now, apart from or making plants resistant to weather diseases or to abiotic stresses or multiple resistant to abiotic or biotic stresses. Here also I mentioned before that one would like to increase the yield, okay? And there are certain genes which have been identified which are negative regulators for some of these yield components. For example, there's a gene called OS from Oryges tribe GS3, which is responsible for grain size. Similarly for grain weight, GW2, and similarly for grain number, GN1A, and they are negative regulators. If you mutate the gene, this is the wild type gene, if you mutate it as shown here, only 3 bases or 1 base, this is biallelic, triple mutations in all the 3 genes. In this here, only about 1 to 3 base pairs, here about 10 base pairs, here is only 1 base pair, here again 2 base pairs deleted, here 1 base pair deleted. Altogether, multiplex editing, we call it. Then what will happen, you will see here in this particular wild type variety, if the size of the panicle was this, here talking of, grain size, grain weight, and grain number, you can see there is a drastic increase in this mutated genotype or genome-edited genotype of all the 3 genes together. This is the end result. And this is also, you can see the increase in grain weight, you can see here, or the size compared to this wild type, in either orientation they have shown, and is also now possible. So this is another example of improving yield of per unit area. Naturally, you will harvest more than this. And this is what we're talking about, land use efficiency. Now, giving an example of quality improvement. Quality improvement is also possible, in fact, which is also the part of the sustainable developmental goal number 2. And that is here, this particular product, there's always kind of a controversy if we talk about it with regard to genetic engineering. While I mentioned before, we're all eating actually one with the other, these genetically modified crops for the last 20, 25 years without any problem, of any kind which has been reported. Any country, I'm talking about not only 30 countries which are producing and consuming, like India is one of them. Even the other countries, 40 of them more, which are not producing themselves, but they're importing. There are about total, therefore, 70 countries consuming genetically modified food crops without any problem. But nevertheless, I think this is another technology by which, the tomatoes have been developed and which have already been commercialized in Japan. I think it happened only just, in December. I think, December it happened. This was the news in September 2021, genome-edited tomato goes on shelves in Japan. Because there's no foreign DNA, regulation is very easy. In case of USA, in fact, for certain crops, there's no regulation at all, because they only regulate if there's a novel combination of genes I mentioned before, if it is there, or if there's a presence of foreign DNA, or there are other issues related with it, then only it goes through the process of regulation. And while, of course, the final product will be all biosafe with regard to environment or to the human or animal health. But here, even that is not required as far as biosafety is concerned, because only few bases have been changed to add a trait here. And we're talking of adding a trait containing high levels of gamma aminobutyric acid, GABA, in these tomatoes, and that's supposed to be helping lowering the blood pressure or aid relaxation. And I'm sure there are many other advantages. Therefore, it has been achieved and commercialized in Japan already by this particular company. In India as well, there's a work going on in one of the DBT funded institutions, National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute, NABI in Mohali, where one of our scientist friend of Siddharth Tiwari has developed these bananas, which are enriched with beta carotene. Beta carotene is an essential ingredient for conversion to vitamin A. For human body, it's important. And banana is such a food which is liked by all, and is available throughout the season, so therefore there's a possibility that it might even help, taking out some of the issues and problems which are associated with vitamin A deficiency. And therefore, our former Honorable Minister of Science Technology, Dr. Harshvardhan himself is showing, while visiting this particular institute in Mohali, the benefit of this particular technology, which has been, this is in fact the first report from India, from NABI, that yes, genetically edited banana has been developed with enriched beta carotene content. and therefore color is here yellow because the beta carotene pigment is yellow in color. So therefore one can even, as Dr. Shukla mentioned about the possibility of, large scale plantation, through tissue culture, this banana couldn't find its easy way out, actually speaking, for bioentrepreneurship as well. And I'm sure Dr. Shukla will be the best person to guide you more on it. And I'm a fan of BCIL myself, Dr. Vibha Ahuja. I've been interacting with her almost, every time when we talk of popularization of this technology or conveying or making people aware about it, science communication through regulation. Otherwise, BCIL, because of Dr. Vibha Ahuja, I would say, is playing a very big role nationally, internationally. So I'm sure through tissue culture, enterprising possibility as well, Dr. Shukla can help you all, and you can contact NABI, which is a department, which is a public funded institution. I don't think there'll be any IPR tax attached to it, and the technology should be available if you contact the director there, in Mohali. Now, coming down to something which I have myself a lot of interest, actually speaking, one of the messages from Dr. Jennifer Doudna was preserving our own indigenous varieties, or even we call them as wild species, which are available in India, plenty of them. We compiled all this information on wild relatives of cultivated plants in India way back in about 2014, and this information is all available. The question is that using this genome editing technology, how can you utilize these our indigenous wild resources, wild species of certain crop plants, for taking the benefit or improving its production even further? And why I'm talking particularly of wild relatives, wild relatives actually have always been important from the climate change point of view, or even from nutritional quality point of view. But unfortunately, after the Green Revolution came into being, we've forgotten about all these wild species, or even land races, or indigenous varieties, which were enriched with some of these quality traits, simply because the farmers would naturally jump onto high yielding varieties. It gives them more remuneration, more profit, more income. And also India wanted as a country to feed our people, with 50 million tons being produced in 1950, nationally now we are 300 million tons only because of those high yielding varieties. But now, since through these sustainable developmental goals, which were released, actually speaking, or announced only in 2015 by United Nations, and by 2030 we need to achieve, and India is signatory to it, we need to worry about, in fact, diversifying agriculture and protecting our own indigenous varieties, and how can we make it more sustainable with less fertilizer, with less pesticide, etc. And I'm sure you all know some of the indigenous varieties like land races or wild species. They all actually can do even much better with less water, less fertilizer, less agrochemicals. So how can you now, in fact, directly modify those wild species, to take the benefit, as I talked about it, for sustainable agriculture? So this is one example I'm showing here, which has already been demonstrated. The paper published in Nature Biotechnology is the best journal in the world when we talk of any biotechnology applications. So here, this is a wild type tomato, wild species of tomato, okay? And this wild species of tomato has all those traits, except it doesn't produce much of those tomatoes, which we want, farmers want. We all want it for our quality as well as profit of the farmers. But however, through genome editing technologies, by genome editing some of the genes, this wild tomato species can be converted into a cultivated type, in a very less number of years. It could be achieved just in about 2 to 3 to 4 years of time. We call it as accelerated domestication. When we talk of cultivated type versus wild type, cultivated type is certainly, of course, an outcome of this wild type, but over evolutionary time scale, it has taken long time. It will take on, we have already examples of cultivated type. But here, this is a clear demonstration. Using the tools of genome editing, the wild species can be converted in just 2 to 4 years into a cultivated type. Therefore, we call it as, accelerated domestication of wild species of crops to cultivated type, with all those characters which a high yielding variety would like to have it. For example, it will have more tomatoes, less number of leaves in every layer. You can see here, particularly the layers here, if there were 3 leaves with hardly any fruit, here you can see only 1 leaf or no leaf with more number of fruits. So that's a very big advantage. Also, apart from classical genome editing, which I explained to you, there are other ways of doing genome editing. And this is a piece together we put it recently, when we're talking of base editors and prime editors, which can also be done more precisely based on Cas9 nicases, which can be introduced in a very precise manner and can bring a targeted change at a single base resolution. And through which what all has been demonstrated already to be achieved, for example, herbicide tolerance in rapeseed, corn, soybean, watermelon, rice, and wheat, which is a very, very important trait. And India has so far not practiced as much herbicide tolerant crops as we needed, for various reasons. Then, of course, altered nutrients or improving the quality, not only for human consumption, also for industrial point of view, or of course for high sugar content, for example, strawberry, or increased carotenoids in case of tomato. And again, rapid domestication, accelerated domestication demonstrated in wild species of rice to cultivated rice just in 2 to 4 years. And then also improving disease resistance. I give you an example through genome editing. Here through this is base editing or prime editing, susceptible allele converted to a resistant allele, and mimicking natural variation. Okay, what is happening in, let's say, in wild species, kind of a allele is present and you want to create that in a high yielding type. This could be done and the plant will become resistant to disease. Or you can have yield improvement. I give an example of 3 different genes, which could then increase the productivity per unit area of, for example, rice shown here. And more importantly, actually speaking, when we're talking of fertilizers, agrochemicals, we need to make our plants more input use efficient. And this is what has been done whether you talk of nitrogen, phosphorus, water, or any other, micronutrient. There's a possibility that through using these technologies, genome editing, you can either increase the uptake or transport or responsiveness. With less amount of this, the plants can still produce, or even better. This is another way that we can try to look at the sustainable developmental goals, which was a part of, climate action and increasing food production with less resources. And also I put up a small piece together where I'm talking about the role of genome editing for smart agriculture. Again, almost covering the same aspects, which we have been otherwise talking about it through various means. But here we are referring to in a different way, for example, tolerance to drought, heat, and soil salinity together. Normally we deal with separately, but I'm talking of multiple stress resistance or including even enhanced flooding tolerance, which are all associated with, you all know, with climate change. Then improved nutrient acquisition and use efficiency. For example, we're talking here of fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, or micronutrients. Increased radiation use efficiency is very important. I was talking to you about capturing carbon, bringing it back to the soil, which is very much possible. And there are now reports where people are talking about using this genome editing technology to improve the photosynthetic efficiency or carbon capturing efficiency, of some of the plants, or improving pest and pathogen resistance, or improving or introducing rather symbiotic nitrogen fixation, which we normally see in legumes. Is it also possible, for example, in rice or wheat, so that we become less dependent on synthetic urea or synthetic fertilizers, which are themselves causing about 17% towards the total greenhouse gas emissions. As a urea plant, through crops it is different again. That's part of agriculture, which I mentioned to you, about 35%. But from the manufacturing point of view, again, urea as a whole is contributing, I believe, which I was told, about 17% to greenhouse gas emissions. So if we have a naturally occurring phenomena which is present in plant, though there are no reports yet, through the use of genome editing, which is possible, but I'm sure, nothing is impossible, which I feel like exactly, really speaking, we never knew about 10 years ago that we will have a technology called genome editing. We do talk of preparing of vision documents at times, but everything fails, because these are novel discoveries which will happen, anytime. We cannot predict. We know nobody knew that genome editing will be there in 2012, less than 10 years ago, and it is now booming throughout the world, not in agriculture, in health, COVID-19 diagnostics, you talk it, or testing, or whatever you talk about it. Even sickle cell anemia, I was told, is getting cured, through the use of this genetic technology. One Dr. Debojyoti Chakrabarti actually doing wonders from India, IGIB Institute of CSIR, in the area of using this genome editing technology for curing cancer and many other problems of human diseases. But friends, the also important is, before you enter into any kind of a business, research is one aspect, developing technology is of course another aspect, and tying up your MOUs with some of the research institutions I mentioned before, like NABI, is another aspect. But then there's a regulation of all these technologies, where government of India plays a very big role. I give you example, of US and Japan, other countries where such projects have already been commercialized. But in India, still, in fact, our guidelines have not been approved by government of India. We were party to it from the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences to propose, what Government of India should be doing, really speaking, assisting them on policy issues based on scientific, evidences and scientific discussions. And our proposal was from the National Academy to the Government of India that SDN1 and SDN2, which I mentioned to you before, without the presence of any foreign DNA, should be treated as good as conventional bred or non-GMOs, we call them. No regulation, and there are examples in the world which is happening. And it's all science-based, by the way. And therefore, we need a positive and enabling policies in favor of relevant, not only genetically genome edited crops, but also in favor of genetically modified crops. Not that we have forgotten about genetically modified crops. We have already, in fact, a score of them for different traits with both public and private sector institutions. We should carry them forward as well, because they have got wonderful, new traits into them with regard to sustainability point of view. And of course, today we're talking about genome edited crops. So this is something which I say is important, could be a part of, we were talking about certain slogans like Startup India, Digital India. We of course do talk of self-reliant India, which I think there could not be anything better when you talk of agriculture than adoption on a friendly way, while regulation is important, but in a very friendly way and science-based way. If we want to move forward, these technologies could be a part of a component of self-reliant India. And again, for bringing sustainability, profitability to the smallholder farmers, and for meeting the sustainable developmental goals by 2030, which is not very far. But I'm sure this technology can give you results, as a product in just 2 to 4 years of time. And already, in fact, there's a lot of amount of work progress in India, both in public and private sector, where one can do wonders. So in summary, what I want to say that investments by public or private sector is important for bringing innovations in basic sciences or for developing biotechnologies, including genome editing technologies for food security and for the economic growth of that particular bio entrepreneur who would like to take up this job, or even for the country as a whole. Then harness the full genetic potential of genome editing. We are only sitting at the top of the iceberg at the moment, and there's a lot which still remains to be discovered, or there's a lot through this technology, we should need to apply and develop those products. But again, I mentioned before, it is all tied up with science-based regulation, which are needed for a meaningful application of these emerging technologies, including CRISPR-Cas system, and its variants. More and more actually type are coming, are being developed. Then awareness is important, communication of advances in science to society, which BCIL has been playing a very big role, and I have been associated myself. I was talking about it. This is a continuous phenomenon. Gone are the days now, all people, public at large, are very intelligent. They are all have a reasoning to ask questions. So we must be prepared in a very, friendly way, in a simple way, communicate science to them. And I'm sure, I think Dr. Basu is doing wonderfully well. I was so pleased to listen to his presentation, while I was busy elsewhere, but the way he started, and I got glued to the screen and listened to his presentation, talking about science, business, and sustainability together in this foundation. I think, Dr. Basu, my request also to you would be, to add communication of science, because now the technology is becoming, or if you talk of artificial intelligence or drone, I think it's very important that communication of science in a manner which people understand in that easy manner is very important. And also for the scientists and researchers, we must try to always build their capacity. I was never a trained biotechnologist, by the way, because that technology did not occur that time when I was doing my PhD. And after my PhD, I have to be trained, or my own training has to take place. Therefore, Department of Biotechnology gave me an advantage, and I could go to Harvard University, train myself. But this is again to be a continuous phenomena, for all the institutions. And I don't know how many of the institutions are really investing in this particular, because this is an investment which is very important if you want to get dividends to the better quality work from those scientists or researchers who will be trained tomorrow, for all these technologies. Otherwise, these technologies will not be utilized fully well by any country to harvest that kind of a benefit, which many of the countries have already done it. So with this, friends, thank you very much. And I thank again MIT University, particularly Dr. Sushmita Shukla for though I was busy a little bit, but I cannot say no to Dr. Sushmita Shukla. She has attended my presentations before and think I'm a friend to MIT, Dr. Ashok Chauhan, and we have been associated for the last about more than 25 years. And also I acknowledge that his vision. I was instrumental in establishing your, by the way, MIT Institute of Biotechnology at Noida campus. I was a regular visitor, and I used to take with me many other stalwarts, from DBT or from GNU, and others for organizing some of the meetings and starting from the scratch, actually speaking what equipment, etc., to be bought with Dr. Saran and Dr. I forgotten his name, Dr. Srivastava, I believe, at that time, So I'm very happy that they are all doing very well. And Dr. Sushmita Shukla is one of the, I think, the pride you have there with along Dr. Shivkant Shukla as well, contributing through BCIL today's seminar and by entrepreneurship. And thanks to all of you. Thank you again for your patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bansal. It was very informative talking about genome editing and CRISPR-Cas technology for UNSDG goal achievement. And we are indeed honored and privileged that you have been associated with Amity Institute of Biotechnology right from the time of Dr. Saran, Dr. A.K. Srivastava sir, and so on. And we have had the opportunity of listening to you many times, and every time it's at a different level altogether. So we are indeed privileged, sir. Thank you so much.
Really, sir, it's a very pride privilege for us to have you here with us. So we are very happy to have all the eminent speakers and your association with us with Amity, and we are very much thankful, sir. We look forward for such more events and to get guidance regarding the gene editing and all. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
So now I would request Dr. Pooja Vijay Raghavan, Professor and Head Corporate Resource Center, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, for sharing her experience and carrying forward the QA session. She is an active researcher in the field of fungal pathogenesis, and as I told earlier also, she is heading our CRC. Over to you, Pooja ma'am.
I think again,
Pooja ma'am is.
I think your mic is creating.
Pooja ma'am is not in the meeting, ma'am.
She's not in the meeting. Okay. Sushmita ma'am, can we then can I ask the questions which are there in the chat box? Because
sure,
there
you go ahead,
yeah,
please, Dr.
Yeah, because
actually the capacity was full, so again by technical issue she is not able to join.
Dr.
So
Bansal,
you can carry forward.
Dr. Bansal, there are some questions for you from the students and PhD scholars.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So yeah, the first question is, are gene edited plants genetically modified plants?
Yes, the genome edited plants are genetically modified plants. But also, I must tell the particular student and the audience, all plants are genetically modified. All plants available on the planet Earth are genetically modified one way or the other, by nature, by human intervention, by genetic engineering, and now by genome editing.
Right. Thank you, sir. Sir, is it possible to target biotic stresses using CRISPR-Cas system?
Who is the student?
This is Ayushi Tripathi. She is, I think, master's student, if I'm...
Ayushi Tripathi, you're asking a question whether genome editing can be used for making plants resistant to biotic stress. Right? Is that the question?
That is the question, sir.
So I would like to ask Ayushi, did I talk anything about using this technology of making a particular plant resistant to a particular biotic stress? Biotic stress, I believe she means disease.
Actually,
did I give any example in my presentation of using this technology of making any plant resistant to a disease?
Ayushi, if you're there, you can text.
Yeah, Ayushi, if you can.
So anyway,
you can speak, Ayushi. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, if she's there, hello? Maybe I can talk to her.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, tell me, did you listen to me if I gave an example of a plant making resistant to disease using this technology?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
No, I think you are not careful enough. Sorry to say this. I gave two burning examples of utilizing this technology of making a plant tomato resistant to a powdery mildew, and another plant in case of rice making it resistant to bacterial leaf blight.
Sorry, sir. Yes.
So these two examples are an attestation to the use of this technology for making plants to even more diseases. Not only these are the two examples I already gave using this, genometric technology. So there is a possibility.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
There's one more question, sir. How to deliver gene editing tools into non-transformable plants?
As of now, there is no technology available by which you can use genome editing technology in non-genetically transformable plants, wherein there is no tissue culture method available. For example, in that case, Dr. Sushmita Shukla should be contacted to develop a method. And though attempts are there, when we talk of in-plantar transformation, by the uptake of some nano-mediated particle, ribonucleoprotein complexes, through certain means, there is a possibility. People are working on it, but I'm not aware at the moment that we have succeeded without the course of tissue culture or transformation genetically, any such plant by which you can utilize genome editing for improving that particular plant. So I think that's one of the bottlenecks of this technology, that we need to, even if their methods are available in certain crops, their efficiency need to be enhanced to a greater extent. And there, actually speaking, one can provide kind of a service. If you are a bio-entrepreneur in mind, you can hire some of the best tissue culture specialists and with novel ideas. India is a country known for developing tissue culture from Dr. Maheshwari's time in Delhi University, where the first paper was published in Nature. And I think we must carry forward, just like IT, we are the specialists in the world. Tissue culture, by the way, is another area where leaders in the world, and we should continue developing some novel methodologies in some of those non-transformable or non-generated kind of, where the tissue culture protocols not available. That shows there's a lot of opportunities still there that we have in India as well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Dr. Anupama, there are two more questions in the chat box.
Ma'am, I can see only one more. How can we overcome problem of off-target mutations?
Off-target mutations is an issue, but now there are certain enzymes which have been engineered, Cas9, which do not cause that kind of frequency of off-targeting mutations as it was earlier thought of with case of native Cas9 enzymes. That's one. Second, in case of plants, really speaking, we do not worry too much about off-target mutations, because as such, we have been developing crops much before, I'm talking 1940s, wherein random mutagenesis was being practiced through radiation or through chemical mutagenesis. And even those varieties in thousands, if you talk globally, more than 3,000 such varieties have been released, where we do not even know where all the mutations would have occurred. But therefore, in case of plants, we should not worry too much about it, as long as you get the particular phenotype, which was your targeted insertion, and you achieve that result. And it is, of course, otherwise healthy, and agronomically speaking, everything is fine. But however, in case of animals or human health point of view, I think that is something, to worry about it. But nevertheless, research is advancing so fast, that is off-targeting mutations. And also you can select individuals, actually speaking, even in case of plants, you have developed not only one genome edited plant, you develop 10 to 40 to 50, and you go for the sequencing of that particular region. And you can always select, or even you can go for the sequencing of the whole genome, which is very cheap nowadays. And therefore you can even select the ones where there is a minimal number of off-target mutations. But yes, other than plant, there are certain issues, but science is advancing very fast to take care of that as well.
Thank you, sir. There is one question for Dr. Basu. How accurate is the data which we get from artificial intelligence in maintaining sustainable agriculture?
Very pertinent question. I am audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Actually, data, what we are gathering, maybe from public domain, as I said, mostly the FAO data, satellite data, and maybe data of our own institution, which we have digitalized and made it a sub data for analysis. What I could see that over 20 or 30 years data, when you are clubbing for making use of a model, using artificial intelligence, we find the data really raw to some extent and cannot be directly used until and unless you clean it. So cleaning up data is very important, then collating and then making it in the form of your utilization for precision decision making. So as such, the raw data cannot be utilized until and unless it is very defined and very accurate source. Of course, there are, but generally what from the public domain are getting, it requires a lot of, not only salvaging, but also cleaning and then making the data for your use, how you can augment it and use it in the transformation.
And so what about the missing entries in the data set? How do you process that?
In fact, more you enlarge the volume and different source, then you can find it. Where the missing link is and how you can synthesize and bring to a precise data, your bank. And from there, you can make use for a particular, study of artificial intelligence applied to a definite crop. And again, there are a lot of variation also. It cannot be straight away applied uniformly, but for a given ecosystem situation, that has to be again filtered. So filtering, capturing, filtering, and refining is very, very important. That part we are doing. And in fact, we are taking use of certain machine learnings also in that how to, clean the data more perfectly for our utilization. Of course, that part is being done, in Europe. My group is doing that. I am basically a domain scientist. So what I am conversing with them, this domain problem, discussing with the data scientist and trying to perfect it so that our prediction models, use of intelligence and then followed by the machine learning, that becomes much more perfect.
And sir, how far the farmers are aware of this kind of work that is being done? That was one of the students.
Actually, what I find, my basic learning is from farmer. And if you are really capturing data in agriculture, say for a particular crop, whether it is rice, wheat, or leguminous crops, dryland crops, it's mostly the farmer from where you are getting the data. And our problem was it was not our entire section of farmers were, questioned, and their knowledge was brought into the domain, and that was digitalized. It is mostly the institutional data, what we are having, whether university or in the ICR data. So there are differences. So more we approach to the ground level, the farmer's knowledge is converted into data, and that data we utilize, our perfection is much better, and that data becomes much deliverable.
And sir, what about the reverse flow in this scenario?
पापा को बोल दो क्वेश्चन आएगा पापा को बोल दो क्वेश्चन पता नहीं उसमें पीछे लटकाया मैंने
Dr. Sushmita, kindly mute.
Reverse flow, we have to
from your data scientists to the farmers. That's what.
Yeah. So reverse flow has started picking now. So we are able to really rope them and demonstrate them. And as I said, in case of banana, whether we are guiding farmers to shift, what kind of shift is necessary, local shift, or it's a, shift in the planting time, anticipating the kind of things which are going to affect the crop. So that's the reason farmers are inclined to that data science. Reverse flow is quite prominent for certain crops, which are very vulnerable to the changing situation under this climate change, particularly disease-based buildup.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is for Dr. Shivkant Shukla. Is there any awareness program or training program for farmers to become bio-entrepreneurs, and the funding agencies that are there except for the bank loans?
Yeah, BCL keeps on organizing such program, and but it is in certain time interval. So I would suggest keep on visiting BCL site. Whenever it is there, you can enroll yourself. But as such, also as an individual, one can approach, because it is an ongoing program, and many entrepreneurs, they keep on visiting BCIL. Even what example I quoted, just to inform that before starting such program, he visited BCL once with his father, and that person has very limited idea about the entrepreneurship. I just asked one question: what do you want to propagate? Then what did he say? I want to propagate aloe vera and osimum, tulsi. But later on, once he got some training, his entire concept was changed. Then he told, okay, I'll do banana and bamboo based on North's requirement. So what I'm saying, this mentorship is a constant process. Don't wait for any program. Keep on asking experts, scientists, and anyone is free to visit BCL. Will be happy to provide mentorship support. But for that, I would say one has to identify the initial requirement, that is initial homework, a kind of rough business plan. One has to have a small piece of land and some kind of promoter contribution. Because whenever you are seeking fund, somebody will ask your commitment. Just a vague idea will not help, theoretical idea. So first of all, you should have some kind of serious commitment in terms of promoter contribution. Then only the things will be viable. So that is my suggestion. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think these are the questions that I think I have covered all the questions in the chat box.
That was really a very good question and answer session. All the speakers has given a prompt and very prominent answers. I hope all the audience are overwhelmed with the response. And if any query is there, they can write to us, and we will definitely be in touch with the speakers and we'll get your answers done. So over to you, Anupama. We can move with our next session. We are just
Yeah, so with this question and answer session, now I would request Dr. Deepshika Pandey-Katare, Head Center for Medical Biotechnology, AIB, to give her concluding remarks. Dr. Katare is PhD in biotechnology with extensive research experience in the field of medical biotechnology, including proteomics for biomarker discovery for a variety of diseases. Over to you, Deepshika, ma'am.
I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah.
So I would like to really put on records our deep appreciations to all the three speakers of today. I would, you can see the audience who have joined us and interacted with us, the audience who were with us, and I was getting so many calls and messages from students and faculty members that they were not able to join. As the session progressed, I think from the word of mouth, everybody was so much wanting to attend this workshop. And I would also like to tell our speakers that this is the part of syllabi of our undergraduate and postgraduate students. So I think this was one of the best workshop these students have attended. So Dr. Shukla, you have given them the importance of plant tissue culture, the schemes which are available with Government of India, the role, significant role this PTC plays, the prerequisite, the business plan, challenges and strategies overall, and also the success story of banana, which is, I think, every student has taken a very good lesson. Similarly, Dr. Basu, I think artificial intelligence, which is the new technology now, everybody wants to know, and you have discussed about the entrepreneurial challenges, the data science, the challenges with data science, as we all are witnessing, old and versus the new challenge, specifically the geopolitical instability, which is again a very major problem. And you have also discussed about the data as the cue for future agriculture, the pest outbreak prediction, as well as the crop locators, which is one of the very good success story of hilly areas, which you have discussed. I think every one of us has tremendously benefited from this particular talk. And what to say about Dr. Bansal, as Dr. Anupma and Dr. Sushmita have been telling, that you have been our friend, our guide for such a long time. And we have been listening to you, and every time it is so much more information we get. So the genome editing, which is the very, very new technology, 2020, it's one of the recent technology. And you have talked about the trend of global gene editing market. I think students who want to be entrepreneurs should look into the big market this particular technology will have. You also discussed about applying this genome editing to climate change, and you really gave very good examples for developing disease resistance, specifically tomatoes. You discussed rice genome, as well as also we were fortunate to witness the first gene technology, that is the banana, which has been developed in India. So I think all the students and faculty members would agree with me. Your talk was so lucid with a lot of information. You gave the technical information as well. And with the question answer sessions, we can really know that what kind of interactions and understanding the students could get. With this, I would again like to thank all the speakers as well as Dr. Sushmita for organizing such a nice workshop for our students and faculty members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deepshika ma'am. So that brings us towards the end of this particular workshop. And to propose the vote of thanks, I request Dr. A.N. Sahi, Head Center for Plant and Environmental Biotechnology and Assistant Director, Amity Institute of Biotechnology, to give the vote of thanks. Over to you, Sahi, sir.
Thank you, Arupma. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the occasion of pre-conference workshop on bioentrepreneurship via 3S, that is startups, scaling up and sustenance, aligned with SDGs. On behalf of Amity University and the entire management group here, I extend my heartfelt thanks for all the speakers for sharing their expertise, knowledge, and enlightening the audience in today's workshop. I'm thankful to the honorable and respected chief guest, Dr. K.C. Bansal, Dr. Shivkant Shukla, and Dr. Mukti Sadal Basu for their interactive and very inspiring sessions. Thanks to all the dignitaries. This workshop would not have been possible to organize without the thanks to our founder president, Sir Dr. Ashok Chauhan, President, and Dr. Atul Chauhan, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Balwinder Shukla, for their blessings and support. I'm very much grateful to the IT persons, media persons, and administrative team for smoothly conducting this workshop. I'm thankful to all the participants for coming here and attending the workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. At the same time, I would like to thank all the organizing team as well, along with my scholars and all the students who are there. Thank you so much. Thank you, all the speakers. We would wish that we will be coming back again with you all with some or the other things.
Thanks, Sushmita.
Thank you, Sushmita. Thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Basu. See you later.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Shivkant Shukla.